Yes. I thought I did that earlier. Oh my goodness. It's been a long day, as you can see. Long week. Not a long week. I mean, shit, the year just started. But I'm excited for the year. I think it's gonna be a great year. I'm trying to I want 100 million, not gonna lie, but I settle for 30 million for the year. So I'm not doing shit with nobody until we get there. You know what I'm talking about? Um oh, that's not even me, actually. Hang on. That's not me marking it up. I think that's one of y'all mark it up. I thought I was losing my mind. Hang on. I don't know how to. Well, it's fine because this is gonna be fine. So now that it's recording, let me start over. Not start over, but we're just gonna go over the way that I used to trade back in the beginning of my trading journey, which was 2017, 18, 19. My first million came from 2019. The four pairs that put me across the threshold was actually gold, USD MXN for the Mexican peso, USD ZAR, and then GBP right? So the way that I did that, made my first million was through intraday trading. So you can say, the day trading, being in and out of the market every single day. But it was coming from a place of scarcity because, I was the first one in my family that's ever made $1 million. So at the same time, I'm not knowing how long it's going to last because I've never seen anything like that before. So I'm thinking I wouldn't be here like I'm here now, 8 years into the future. No one knows the future, and that's part of trading. Of you got to be okay with not knowing because I could have very well been homeless also, and you never knew I could have failed at trading if I, was a person that didn't actually put the work in. Like I know that everybody that's here with me on Saturday ain't nothing more important to you than your trading journey because like ultimately finances run this entire world and people can say all they want how money's not important, but money will solve 90% of people's problems. You know what I'm talking about? So at the end of the day, you don't like people shouldn't have that love for money, but they should love that money can be used as an asset, right? So just like there's different ways to work out and lose weight, there's also different ways to make money to trade. The way that I made my first million back then, 2019, was by intraday trading, and then I'm making money faster this go around because I've been, I have the experience under my belt of the 8 years, and for the 8 years of the six of them, I've been trading the same way every single day, every single week, and I teach everybody else, the same way that I've been trading. So consistency and patience is really that's going to make the difference between traders, right? Just like people that work out, they are how do you say? I feel like people that work out have the most potential in changing their life because they already have that obsession with changing their body, if that makes sense. So if you're able to change your body and use your imagination to see what body type you want, because when I work out, I'm really you can't target certain areas, but you can feel the muscle that you're trying to work out, right? That's how trading is. And in this case, the muscle that we're working out is going to be our brain and also our heart because I know that people be damn near having strokes when I'm sitting here in a 14-day swing and they've never held over an hour before. I completely get it. It's understandable because I used to be them. I intradayed my way all the way to $1 million, but at any point in time, I could have blew that fucking account. So every day that I survive trades in the market, because I want to see how far we could go too. But that's us working that muscle out of we getting used to the anxiety that it takes. I'm sure some of y'all, shit, I can't believe I woke up. I probably woke up this morning and I saw, cause we had like 60 positions last night. Them motherfucking positions was fucking gone when I woke up. I'm like, you stupid bitches. Because I'm talking about the market looks so good. And we still in it. I woke up and we had less entries, but we were still floating down near the same amount of money, if that makes sense. I just couldn't believe 56 entries was gone because I only slept for a few hours. Like, damn, I can't go to sleep because I promise you, I slept all week and it's been fine. We've been, alive. I've been sleeping for 2 weeks. We've been alive the entire time. So why the fuck I decided to get some good ass sleep last night and 56 entries was gone. Thank God the whole account wasn't blown because it's not like we can get those 2025 entries back. But that's where I am. I quite literally want. Oh, I forgot my camera's not on. I guess that would help. Oh, wait, there it is. Oh, yeah. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, so Is this shit still not recording? Oh, it's recording. Okay, I'm tripping. I'm not. I thought I was losing my fucking mind because this shit was recording and I finished 2 hours. Then them niggas just went to see it. I'm not gonna hold you. But so it's we just working on muscles. People, I've always believed that, and it's like me personally. I have not always been good at working out and losing weight. Right? I think the first time I got a personal trainer was in 20. It was like 2021. And I used to wake up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning with her. And I don't know how I did it because my body cannot get up before 10 at this point in life. Because I mean, I guess it's because I do stay up to about 5, 6 sometimes, but even if I don't stay up to about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm not getting up before 10. I don't know what's wrong with my body, but it actually works out. I feel like my body's probably in sync with the market because I've noticed the last 2 weeks too, the entries going into the market for entries is coming later in London session. You know what I'm talking about? Last night, and that's what I'm saying, patterns and habits rule everything because last night was the first time in 2 weeks London session has actually given that low entry, if you've noticed. But I'd be watching that kind of stuff, even if it seems like, positions are going and stuff like that. That's what I'm looking out for. I'm watching the patterns because me watching for the patterns isn't something necessarily that I have to say. But, we for the rules of uptrend, it's higher lows, higher highs, downtrends, it's lower lows, lower highs. But just like people, some people that work out, they want to, how do you say, like me personally, I'm better at weights. Like I swear to God, I could run 1,000 miles and won't lose nothing. But I can barely lift a 40 pound weight 100 times and then 50 pounds will fall off. You know what I'm talking about? But that's my body type. I guess you know what I mean. But nothing's wrong with cardio or lifting. People have had success doing both, and even when it comes to say cardio versus weightlifting or the type of workouts that you do, like say, oh, that's what I needed. This right here, the RDL. So they have when I first started working out, and well, I've always worked out because I played sports, right? But when I started working out as an adult, like with a trainer and everything, because she was working me like I was a slave. Wide stance RDL. I'm sorry, I cannot type and talk. So yeah, she was working me like a slave and I couldn't stand it, right? So while I was working out with a trainer who was good at working out, hard for me, but working out by myself works. It's because the way that she works out was a lot different than the way that my body responded to weight loss. You know what I'm talking about? But that's how people I feel like think about trading of scalpers, intraday traders, and swing traders. And then there's position traders too, but position traders are technically your hedge funds and stuff like that. Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Fidelity, the big banks. They're basically that because they're holding it for decades at a time, But I want to adopt the same mindset that they have because as long as I've been trading, I've noticed the market throws the same two patterns over and over and over again, right? But when you're working out, you want to do reps. So you want to work out the same way, the same muscles over and over and over again. That's how I get bigger. The only way people are going to learn and how I learn to hold longer is to hold longer no matter what happens because I know that I'm following the rules of the market, if that makes sense. So when I first started working out, I promise you, I would work out. I would do 2 a days with this girl. I would cry every single time, and I couldn't lose anything. But that's because my ass will sit here and eat 2 DoorDash meals also to make myself feel better from all the running I did with her, right? And then just in case I didn't like one meal, I was so hungry because I knew she almost killed me that I would order 2 meals, and then if one meal was nasty, I would just refund it with DoorDash. But my fat ass would still eat both meals. So that's what I'm saying. Some people is doing the same work well, they believe they're doing the same work. I would show up to my sessions to work out and cry every time and still ruin my gains by eating 2 big ass DoorDash meals. You know what I'm talking about? What is going on? Why are y'all touching stuff? You're driving me crazy. I'm not going to fix this. I'm going to leave it right there. Stop touching stuff. Please. Um, what's it called? Yeah. So RDL versus the Y stance RDL. The RDL is the regular way that you can grow, glutes and hamstrings, so on and so forth. Everyone knows the RDL, but not many people talk about the wide stance RDL and the way that I'm trading in 2000, 25 going into 26. It's just longer holds, more patience, more weights, but we're doing it because we're trading off the margin of the account because we're following the rules of the market, right? So the RDLs itself, everyone talks about these, but the RDLs versus the Y stance RDLs is the Y stance RDLs. You gotta have your technique right, if that makes sense. It's your technique. Your technique is gonna be the difference. But both of these are still making you're still working out the same muscles. That's what's important about trading. So no matter what kind of trader you are, I feel like everyone still at some point has to learn the way that I trade because I don't have a strategy. I'm actually reading the entirety of the market and I want to take on the weights of the entirety of the market just like the hedge funds do, right? Does that make sense? Type a two in the chat if that makes sense, right? Because in I have been doing this the way that I trade really since 2021 because my first time ever doing it was actually on crypto. That year I did well that shit. I forgot about that. That was that year I did that 700 $700 going into 750K. And that was November 2020 going into 2021, right? So what's it called? But I did so outside of that crypto, I was trading crypto and I think it was on Hugo's Way, right? And Hugo's Way, is trading crypto, kind of like crypto futures, but it's the forex side of crypto. We wasn't trading liquid brokers to where it's not crypto futures, but it's just regular forex crypto. And I was trading Dash USD. I think some of y'all probably remember that. Dash USD, and then between it was I swear to God, it was like $150 account. The account blew to like -$8. It was the first time I did some shit like that. It blew to -$8, but the account between Friday night or Friday total, I looked at the last time Friday night, I was at like 1,000 and something dollars. And then the -8 account, but I had survived it the entire time. But by Saturday morning, waking up, I'm up like 25 bands. That's the first time I had done that. But the way that I've been trading is the same way I've been trading and anticipating and approaching the market since 2019. But I'm getting more confident. You know what I'm talking about? I have more clarity. I have more conviction in the market because I've been right so many times, right? So I've gotten to the point to where I don't necessarily have to use stop losses. Some pairs I know to use a stop loss depending on the size of the account and where we are. And that's why everything with trading, it depends. And that's the part that I think drives people crazy. But my life, as you guys know, my mom was schizophrenic. I damn near raised my sisters and I've been an adult for a long ass time, but it gave me my superpower. I mean, I got critical fucking thinking skills and I can anticipate the future because I can anticipate the future and I'm okay with not knowing what's going to happen, but I anticipate something that should work out in my favor. It's always been like that. My ex would used to say, I think something bad happened to your childhood because I've never seen anybody get to a point to where somebody fucks them over and their whole life falls apart. And I live a good life. I really do try to stay out the way. You know what I'm talking about? But that was me before I even got money. So the way that you are now is the way that you're gonna be with money. But now I might ask to sit here. Somebody piss me off. I'll sit here and armadillo in the house because I can hold up and shit. With resources, you can hold up for a hot ass minute without seeing somebody. You know what I'm talking about? You got a choice. So that's why it's like if anything changed about my life, everything would change, and I wouldn't have the anticipation skills that I have in the market because maybe something would have changed. Maybe I wouldn't have been this badass trader because trading isn't something that I thought of. It's something that I was introduced to, but I didn't have nobody in my circle, in my family, in my environment that was a trader, that was an investor. I remember specifically there was one time I was sitting in a circle with my mom and my grandma, and they were talking about the what was it? Social Security. They was talking about Social Security, and this was before I even started investing in stocks and stuff. So my first share I had bought of Tesla, and it was in like 2016, right? And I went to college, for the 1 month I went to college because I wanted they FAFSA money because I didn't have no fucking money. You know what I'm talking about? So I needed a car, so that's why I went to college to get a car. I didn't necessarily go to get money for college, but I forgot. I mean, I don't know why I started all those accounts, but it came from the conversation of my mom and grandma was talking about eventually the Social Security was going to run out, so on and so forth. My grandma, she on Social Security. My mom, she getting up there age. She eventually will be up there, you know what I'm talking about? If not sooner, and I don't know how all shit work, but you know what I'm talking about. And so they were talking about that. So I know that my mom, my grandma, my sisters, and some of my aunties, they all have master's degrees. But at the same time, I know how they live and they all work, right? They do well. I didn't grow up in the hood, but my thing for my family was mental health. I there was times when my mom was broke. Like I remember we didn't have no money. We was eating fucking peas. I fucking hate peas to this day. I can't stand peas. You can rob me with a pea, I promise you, because I don't want shit to do with them. Because we used to eat that, and she didn't have no money. Or we used to eat matzo meal when she didn't have any money. But I knew the way that I grew up and the way that my family was back then and is to now because their habits is just different. It's not that they didn't have the money, is that the money was being spent unwisely. And for the first part of my life, that's how I was doing it too. But once I realized there was a faster way to make money, and you can make money by putting your money somewhere in the money making itself, that's when I fell in love with it. So that came from my mom and grandma talking about Social Security. So I started doing shit different. So I bought my share of Tesla, and my first $20 I made on Tesla, I was down for it. A year after that, I started learning how to trade. So I started investing before I learned how to trade. But that's why I say even traders got to be great investors because investing and trading go hand in hand. But there's an investor mindset and there's a trading mindset, and there's a time and a place for everything. Type of three in the chat if that makes sense. I know I talk a little fast. I can't really. I've been talking fast my whole life. I don't know how to control that. But, it gets a lot of info out. So at the same time, what's it called? Having that conversation with my mom and grandma made my first couple dollars on Tesla. Eventually, I sell my Tesla share because the thing is, if you don't have your life together, it's not just gonna start. You're not just gonna get your life together by you starting trading, right? And that's where I am. Like the RDL versus the Y stance RDL. The RDL is me back then. The Y stance RDL is me now. Me back then, I needed to find out how to budget, right? I had to budget. I had to because budgeting, the money has to come from somewhere, right? If you don't have more money, you have to cut to make more money, if that makes sense. So because I knew that I was a restaurant server, I could typically make say $500 a week. Sometimes it was more. Like my first well, it was like my second restaurant job. No, it was my third. Papado Seafood Kitchen. I was making 100K a year at like 20 years old, but I didn't have the discipline I have with money now back then, right? I was at 19, 20. I'm over here spending it on booze and drugs. You know what time it was and food. I'm having a blast. By the time I get fired from that job, my whole life is falling apart. It only take a few weeks before I get evicted, power going off every motherfucking day, but I didn't have the discipline. The only way my life changed was from when I started investing. So after I get fired from Papa though, I'm pregnant with Ari, yada yada, boom boom bam. She almost get adopted, boom boom bam. Yeah, find family, decide to keep her, and then boom, I'm working at Brio's Husky Grill, right? Working at Brio's Husky Grill is when I first start learning how to trade. And that's where it's funny because I always tell people me learning how to trade was gonna happen regardless because it's like me thinking and looking back on it now. Justin Brother is the one that introduced us like to trading because he was the one that was at IML. I was never in IML until like the first 2 months of ever in my trading. So that was 2017 at November, shit going into 2018, but I don't have money to where I can't afford them. I can't even afford them. It was like $200 a month and we were splitting and we still couldn't afford it, right? So it's like because I had only had so much money that I was making at a restaurant and we had bills, the bills had to get cheaper, right? So you can't just start trading. And so that's why I'm telling you, so some people can't afford my mentorship because they haven't budgeted yet. You know what I'm talking about? But budgeting the first step into trading because if you can't get the money to invest, you're not going to be able to trade because I didn't know what I was doing back then, my accounts would get blown. I don't trade with stop losses because I know I'm right and I really don't be doing stupid shit in the market like that. You know what I'm talking about? Like even 6 to 8 weeks of the market trying to clap me, I still make bands here through the 6 to 8 weeks. I don't just necessarily grab it because I know the market can give you more, right? So it's like at the same time, people can't take as many risks. You don't get that many no's if you get a court appointed attorney. You don't get that as many no's as somebody that hire an attorney. So if I have my budget for my life right, then I can have a couple more no's than the average person. Type of four in the chat if that makes sense. So my budgeting came from I used to have cable, and so cable shit was like $200-300 a month. Have to get that shit out the way. That's shit. I'm coming up to $250 damn near because cable $200-300 a month. Wi-Fi by itself, and I still have Wi-Fi to this day. It's just $50-60 a month. So now I got more money to risk, and because I'm making 50 to 100 a day, because I shit, my first trade ever, was USDJPY. Real quick, for people that don't know me, is going to be it was an $800 account. That was my half of the rent money. Put a 5 lot on USDJPY, made $1,200 real quick. Pull that shit out, thinking I'm the fucking genius. I put all that shit back in. So what? That's like 2 grand. Hit it with another 5 lot. I'm talking about I don't know shit about trading now. I'm talking about I didn't do nothing but open an account and I'm over here clicking fucking buttons, made some money, and then 5 minutes later all that shit was gone. 1,200 gone, 800 gone, rent money gone, all that shit gone, car note gone, gone. So, but that is what awoken me. That's what I'm saying. Like it only took one time to want to keep investing in Tesla. Oh, I'm $20 in Tesla. Boom, never stopped investing. $1,200 in trading, and I lost it 5 minutes later. Boom, never fucking stopped. It don't matter to me because it only took that one time. So that's why to me, I love giving the world 30 days. Finna be 14, but I'm gonna be nice to give them 30 because it don't take no money out of my pocket, But they have to figure out before they get to me, before they start trying to speak to me, if they like, if this shit is for them because I knew right away this shit was for me. It don't take me long to know 2 plus 2 equals 3 and 2 plus 2 equals 3 because the 3 is your money needs to never leave investments. Your money needs to always be in assets. So working at Real Tuscan Grill, I'm good. Like the money is okay there, but it's not no fucking Britain. It's not no Papado money. That would, bro. If I didn't get fired for Papado, I would have never fucking stopped working there. I would have never stopped working there. Like I eat up there sometime. And the people I worked with 8 years ago, 9 years ago, shit, I don't know how long this been. I worked there and all. Well, shit, 10 years ago, I was like 20. I just turned 30 like 10 years ago. Some of them are still there. So in the last eight, I didn't change my entire life to where it's psh, we up here. You know what I'm talking about? We got free time. We got freedom. We got options. Right? We got choices in life. We done bought ourselves a voice. That's where it came down to. But that came from I didn't know it was going to happen. It just happened. I just keep going right, left. And then so it's like I just will pivot. Something don't work, I pivot. And that's how I got to where I am. So understanding that it's okay to be different, but you still got to look at the entirety of the market is going to be where the difference is. You got to understand who you are as a person, and you got to work out the muscles because why everybody know about the RDL, but some people booty is flat. That's what I'm saying. People know what to do. People know to do cardio. People know to lift weights. People know to eat right. People know to stay away from goddamn Twinkies and shit like that all the time. But some people make different choices. And that's why I gave the free trial because there ain't shit I could do about their choices. I can only continue to share the choices that I make. So that's the beginning because I'm finna consolidate all my tasks today. I don't even know. My life been just a little bit busy lately. Not too busy, but just a little bit busy to where I couldn't believe my Wi-Fi wasn't working on Thursday. I even brought my charger because we finna be on the Zoom for at least a couple hours. We got a lot to knock out. I literally have to mark up all the charts. Well, some of them. I don't have to mark up the dollar again. I want to leave that one. But I mean, y'all see, I got a lot of them to mark up because I was supposed to do it like last week and I didn't do it. I didn't have time. But y'all still with me? Y'all got time tonight? Type a five in the chat if you're gonna be with me tonight. But if you can't, I'm recording it anyway because I knew I kind of sprung it on everybody. I sprung it on myself too. Shit, I didn't even know until y'all knew. Hey Denard, how you doing? Glad y'all on. What's it called? All right, so that's the beginning. Boom, bam. YouTube out the way. Now let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to the trading. Oh, I mean, but I can still tell y'all about my life. Trading is hard. So my budget in this shit, I had to knock off cable. Phone bill. I used to have Sprint, bro. I owe Sprint so much fucking money, and they ain't never getting it. I promise you, they not because they was low key scamming me, kind of like insurance scam. I could have shit as many times as I was paying my phone bill with Sprint that was higher shit, $200-300 a month because I also keep in mind, I've been taking care of my sisters for a long time, so it was on my phone bill, and I not making no money. Now I'm making money, but bills all constantly going up with inflation, right? And then shit, my expenses going up because I'm taking on other people, and now I'm pregnant with Aubrey, so she there, so expenses going up. So the money got to go from somewhere until the money go up too. So my money I had to cut it from Sprint. I would go from Sprint and I went to like Metro PCS and like who was it too? Oh, Boost Mobile. They're like the off-brand phone plans, right? And you could get them for like $50 a month. Now, I'm book smart and street smart. So I knew about capitalism and shit like that. So as long as you transferring a phone from another company, sometimes I couldn't afford my phone, even switching for Sprint at $50 a month. So I would just keep back and forth switching back every month. I swear to God, until I got stable because my money already wasn't enough to pay bills, but now I'm taking on extra risk in the market. I was smoking and stuff too, so I wasn't making good decisions with my money. But either way, I'm here now, so I get to tell everybody everything that I had to go through in order to get here, and it really started budgeting. So most people can't afford the signals because they haven't even got the budgeting part out of the way. But if you never get the budgeting part out of the way, making more money not gonna do you no justice anyway. Your ass is still gonna be broke. So you might as well find out before you really start trading or while you're trading how to cut those expenses because it's only gonna give you more opportunity because money is a tool. That's what brings me back to the beginning of I'm talking about like money has to you don't have to love money, but you do have to love that you can really buy your freedom by using money as a tool because slavery never ended. They just pay you a little bit. But just think about everybody that's like basketball players. How many basketball players after they get paid or stop playing, they go broke. You know what I'm talking about? But then think about how many millions of dollars that contracts be. Now think about the people we don't see playing. Think about the people that's actually playing, paying them the millions. They billionaires, bro. That probably fucking trillionaires. We just don't know about it. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I think about. That's where I want to be, but it has to come from a different mindset. Of my life did not change until I'm working at Brio Tuscan Grill and I'm starting to put two and two together. Of damn, why am I working like a fucking slave and I still can't get my shit right? Because I'm here at this point, so it's not like I'm BSing around. So why am I not able to get ahead? I had a checking account, bro. I had a checking account with BB&T. I don't know if y'all ever heard of that bank before. Shit, they off band bank. They was trash too. And I think I was late on my rent one time. Shit, for sure was late on my rent. And God sent me a blessing. I had put my rent money that was already gonna be short anyway. That's what I'm saying. My ex was right. The fucking Aubrey Daddy was talking about my life just be working out. Now that I'm thinking about this story, the shit was so funny. I didn't even have enough money in for rent. I just put that money in the bank. I swear to God, just like man, Lord help me. And that fucking ATM malfunction, bro. That shit. Oh my God, I was so happy. Malfunction. So then I gotta go inside the bank, tell them that shit malfunction, right? Thank God. I got the idea. I'm gonna lie to them. Was like, oh yeah, it's this amount because I didn't have enough for rent anyway. So y'all shit ate my shit anyway. It shouldn't have did that. So now y'all gotta pay me, right? So they had to pay me eventually because I was finna get evicted the next day. You have to go ahead and so life be working out, but I really think it comes from a point of I be making the right choices and I try to make the most responsible decision. But I also play a part in this world to where life do kind of gotta work out for you when you always consistently are doing your best to make the right choice. And making the right choice is understanding that assets is here and they've been here and they've been holding this entire world together, right? Because let's think about Walmart, goddamn Kroger, gas stations, fucking McDonald's, food places, houses and shit, rent places, different apartment buildings and stuff like that. How long have they been around? They're forever an asset because they forever are getting paid, right? And these assets and people are paying, they're paying companies, right? So if companies are always forever in business, right? They only go out of business if they didn't make enough money, right? That means that companies are in assets and assets hold up this entire world. And the dollar itself has been going down over a long period of time, not because the dollar itself matters. I'm not saying the dollar matters. Like, I just think of the dollar itself as maybe like a trade and barter system. Anything can be money. People just have to find value in it, right? Type of five in the chat if that makes sense. Anything can be money. People just got to find value in it. So that's why it's important, even bringing it full circle. If I started with stocks, got into getting my life together, investing, getting my bills in order and stuff like that, right? In order to free up money because I was only able to make 50 to 100 today. 100 a day at the restaurants was my goal. So if 100 a day at the restaurants my goal, and at that point too, I changed my schedule around too, and that's what I'm talking about, a pivot of typically people will want to work day shifts and stuff like that and have the night off. But because the way the market worked, the daytime would be the best time to trade the market. And as a new trader, I wasn't as skilled at at timing my entries and stuff like that. So I thought I had to be available. I wasn't skilled at holding my entries and shit either, so I thought I had to be available the entire US session in order to make money. But I'm not even looking at the market the entire time, but the money itself is moving the entire time, if that makes sense. So that's why I like the way things are now, because it's really for people that have a busy schedule. You know what I'm talking about? But I wanted to do the real world stance of it for y'all, because I think that's the part that people be missing. I was an actual person before I started trading, and trading itself is just a glorified 9 to 5. Of, even like I said, if you don't budget and you start making more money, your ass still gonna struggle. I swear to God, I was watching Dave Ramsey the other day, and he had this somebody online on there, and he was talking about how they had a $40 million net worth, and them niggas was living paycheck to paycheck, and I just couldn't believe it, because it don't make no logical sense to me, because like I wasn't a financial person, but I learned finances. You know what I'm talking about? So the fact that they have a $40 million net worth, and they ask living paycheck to paycheck because they over here can't get the fuck off the private jets that they obviously can't afford, and they can't let go of the fucking vacation houses, got more than one, got multiple fucking, that pick which one you want to. You don't need all that shit. That's how I am, because to me money got me to where I am because I invested it. So investing it gave me more tools in order to make more money. So I only want the money for the freedom. Like, I'm a trader that live a very regular life. I live in the suburbs. My daughter is homeschooled. She is in third grade ish. You know what I'm talking about? All that kind of stuff. I make dinner. I work out. I have fuck 6 dogs. They feel like 1,000 dogs, but I live a regular life because it was never about the guru shit to me. Like, I never even was online really up until shit. Damn near I made my first $1 million, because I didn't even know to think about that shit. That's how far in the matrix I was. Like, I wasn't on no internet like that. I was trying to survive. My electricity was going out every day. You think I got time to get on the internet every day? I can't even charge my fucking phone. That's so, to me, when people quit trading, I think it's fucking stupid, first off. Second off, you don't have no other choice. Like, oh, I quit trading. I'm finna go back to work and ask for $1 raise a year. Shut the fuck up. Like, come on now. Like, that's where I'm at. So it's like, even though this shit is hard, it's something that has to be done, and you don't even have to quit your job in order to trade, but you need something to supplement your income, or you gonna forever try and be cutting bills like I had to do. I had to cut bills. I was switching from Boost to Sprint, and to, well, from Sprint to Boost to Metro PCS. But those, how do you say? Um I mean, the service was bad. My phone, I couldn't even really talk on the phone and text at the same time. So that's what I'm saying. You get more options and a better quality of life once you get your finances in order. And that comes from a point of learning how to trade. And that comes from the point of, hang on, let me share my screen, close whiteboard. Yes, close that, screens. And so you got to make a choice. So if we just did the full circle, now it's time to bring it to the charts. The charts is exactly what I said. Businesses have been in business for a long ass time. Walmart, well, shit, I don't think there's no Kmart's. There are no Kmart's in Texas, I don't believe, but I don't think Kmart around no more. Blockbuster not around no more. McDonald's still around. Burger King still around. Stuff like that. So the businesses you see are the businesses that are continuing to make money, and they are a continuous asset to people. You know what I'm talking about? But people have to eat. People have to buy products. What I do is hard, and that's why I just took on a private student in Houston, and we were talking about why I started teaching. And I never started teaching for the love of it, because as y'all know, I don't even like people that much. I love people, right? I'm a great time. When people meet me in person, I promise you I'm the life of the party. I always got something to talk about. I'm very amusing, very energetic, but I'm very serious about money. And when people are not serious about money, that's the only part that irks me, to where I don't even want to know they money habits and stuff, because it's gonna irk the fuck out of me, because I'm gonna have something to say, and they gonna feel like that they gonna have something to say, and then I'm gonna feel like what they have to say is not valid because I have more of it. So I'm doing something right because of where I came from. Like, come on, we just went full circle for 40 minutes. Come on now, you know what I'm talking about? Type of two in the chat if that makes sense. So that's where it all come down to. of I get more say so when I've done more in life, and I could walk up to somebody and tell them everything I've done in this world and what I've flipped this account, that account, what I've invested in. I got an opportunity right now in Texas. This dude, well, he was hitting me up about a title transfer, and it's like 10.5 acres, but he want 30K for the title transfer. That's that shit if I sit there in my pocket, right? And then honestly, like $100 account is I feel like it's what started me. Like I feel like it started my entire journey because I was only making $50 to $100 a day. So it's like the money gets to the point to where you invest it and it's working. It's working while you sleep. Investing is quite literally working while you sleep. But investing in your trades, investing in your positions, because it's not the money that I'm looking at in this market. I'm looking at the positions. I cannot get back a 2025 entry. You know what I'm talking about? But that end of year 2025 entry, yeah, I spit all over the place. It's my entry that we've been had since fucking November. The market was just fucking us, and there's nothing we could have done about it other than people could have took their profit. But I don't have a habit of just taking my profit, if that makes sense, because I know the market under the right circumstances can give me more. Type two in the chat if that makes sense. Under the right circumstances, the market can give me more. And if I follow the rules of the game, that assets run this entire world, that the market, that I mean, that's how I'm gonna make me money. So in the beginning, like I said, I was more intraday, but I've always had a swing outlook on things, right? So my swing outlook on things came from looking at these higher time frames. The higher time frames rule this entire market. So people love to look at, how I was talking about RDLs versus wide stance RDLs and cardio versus weightlifting. There's people that's technical savvy, which is me, and there's people that's fundamental savvy. I know about fundamentals, but I'm not that savvy at it, right? But the thing about it is I pivot. I've studied every way possible in order to get profitable in this market over the last year. I mean, sorry, 8 years. But I'm talking about my how do you say, my experimenting came from my first 2 years. So my learning curve was 2 years, but I've taught people how to get profitable faster. Come on, like I can literally go to 100K in days under the right circumstances, but it has to be under those right circumstances. And as we can see, catching one of the biggest candles in the last few months, and we are a part of the entire thing, and we ain't even had to do nothing, and we up. Some of the accounts was up like $300 at one point, and we still on the way there because we still alive. My shit not notifying me that we getting blown out right now, so I'm assuming we alive. You know what I'm talking about? So at the same time, we got to understand that I take the real world facts and I just put them on a chart. Everyone at some point is going to have to come to me whether they know it or not, because it don't matter what kind of trader you are. You have to read the market the same way because it's not a strategy. We're looking at the patterns of the market, what it's been doing since 85 for the dollar, especially, and understanding that it's only been doing two things since 85, and that was before I was born, which is buying and selling. Even the consolidation is not even the third option. There's niggas out there that still think there's a third option for trading. Oh, there's buy, sell, consolidation. Ain't no fucking consolidation because the consolidation is still buy and sell. We don't talk about, but I can only say that because I've done the work. I've been doing the work every day for the last 8 years. But shit, I really been doing the work every day since I was fucking 8 years old because I've been using my critical thinking skills for a long ass time now. I'm the oldest of three. My mama's schizophrenic, but taking care of my sisters forever. After I was done taking care of my sisters, had a baby. God don't let up, but He gave me enough blessings in order to share and take care of everything, and that's okay trade off for me because I honestly love doing this shit. I like to look at the charts and stuff. I don't necessarily like to talk, but that's what me and he was talking about because his stance was what made you get into teaching if because teaching money is good, but it's nothing like trading money because you don't have to check in with nobody. And there's nobody trying to challenge your bias, even though they haven't made as much as you. You know what I'm talking about? So to me, my trade off was my blessings is coming from above. I want my tis and blood type shit. There's no way that God gave me this knowledge to just keep for myself because I took 8 months off, but it's hard to never make another dollar again. Even taking all those months off, I was still breaking 100K months without an audience. But that's how I got rich. I got rich without an audience because it was never about an audience to me. It's always been about price action, and I'm a price action trader. I know it work. I know it don't work. I've studied everything: Elliott waves, Fibonacci, fucking fundamentals analysis. I interpret everything, but when it come down to fundamental and technical analysis, Technical analysis gives you the entry into the market. Fundamentals is nothing more than the gas. Because I promise you, by the time people hear it in the fucking news, you can't get that fucking entry no more because the shit gone. By the time it's in the news, remember I told you about that girl that worked with me at Papa though, and I was in Florida at the time visiting in 2021, and I'm up like shit at that point, probably 350K of the 750K, right? Yeah. That was Safe Moon, I think. No, so it's 250K with Safe Moon. So I'm floating 250K, sitting in this condo in fucking Florida or Orlando, and got down. She texts me because she see a billboard talking about Safe Moon, and to me, I know she don't know nothing about finances, so she asking me how she get in there. I'm like, girl, how you know about Safe Moon? Because Safe Moon hard to get. How she find out about it? So now, it's like you want to do the opposite of the masses. The masses, they don't want to invest low. They want to invest when they hear about it. But by the time they hear about it, that's the news. I don't want to be a part of the news traders, and that's why I'm the best because the entry is going to be coming from technicals, right? Option traders coming to me. I trade all markets, but I teach Forex and I teach crypto futures because options, honestly, is not my favorite. I am a person that enjoys to hold and position myself in this market for a long period of time. And for me, I know there's a way to do it, but I was never savvy at that point in options. So I know what my strengths and my weaknesses are. But every options trader that comes to me, they become elite. Matter of fact, my it was an options trader that made his first million in 9 months. But I taught him Forex and I just started crypto futures, but I taught him Forex. But he was in options, but then I was telling him that options and Forex is the same shit. So he go from working a job, struggling. Literally, it was the first year I started my signals on he shit. It was like $100 a month for the signals. What back in 2021, and then he could, if that was his first time doing that, and then he made enough in the signals to make 3K. Joined the mentorship, because that was like 2021. I think I took a break, taking students 2021, so I had like 10 people join the mentorship going into September, going into October because it was my first year doing it, but I had already made people so much money. You know what I'm talking about? So that was like the first month. So he's made enough for me to go from not being able to have 100 for real to investing $3,000 into the mentorship because he grew it in the signals. And I'm talking about at this point, he's just working with me taking signals. He wasn't even, I didn't have the bots. Doc didn't have the bots for me yet. I didn't even have Doc information yet. So it's like I have to make certain choices in the world and I have to meet the people I have to meet. I feel like in order for shit to work out. And that's why I started trading. So it was never about for the good of the people because honestly, some people is not even good. Like some people like do stupid shit. And I just feel like that I'm so out the way that it's hard for me to notice that you're doing stupid shit unless you really making it for me to look at you because I really only notice myself, these dogs, Aubrey, and then other assets in my life. Relationships is also providing something for me, whether it's spiritually, emotionally, financially, physically. You know what I'm talking about? So I didn't start trading to guru it up. I don't even like talking all the time, right? But I know I have enough knowledge and I know I'm savvy at it enough to where it doesn't make any sense for me not to share it. So even if no one signs up because they don't like the prices, to me, I still want to give everyone in this entire world, and there's 8 billion people in this world, a chance to be awoken at the idea of something. So I want to give the world idea. I am the world's muse. Like I'm doing something crazy. If people say the first 100K is the hardest, then and I've done it a few times in a few days. Each time, sometimes it takes 7, sometimes it takes 5, sometimes it takes a month, sometimes it takes 3 days, right? But I'm okay with waiting as long as it takes. If I can do that, and some people haven't even made their first million, can't make their first 100,000. Everyone's made 100,000 to be honest, but ain't had 100K all at once. Then who am I if the world literally can put it in my hand through air to stop that opportunity for somebody else, or at least waking them up to that idea of they can do that, of that can have that happen because really you ain't got to answer to nobody. You ain't got to sign up for no signals. You ain't even got to buy my courses. You ain't even got to study my shit. But eventually, if you look at this market long enough, you don't understand what the market is doing. And what the market is doing is consistently making the dollar a level of lower lows and lower highs because it's always devaluing because of inflation, because the assets in the world is changing. Just like people used to trade pigs and cows, they used to trade slaves, they used to trade rocks and trees and shit. Right now, we trading the dollar versus these digital assets, but then eventually we know it's gonna be a digital dollar. We don't know. We do not know how far that shit gonna play out. But I've always seen everything, and that's why I started investing in from the first place. You remember the Flintstones and the Jetsons? The Flintstones is where I feel like I was back then, and the Jetsons is what I've always believed the future to be. Because assets are always going to be progressing. That means your money should always be working. And if the correlation between assets and the dollar, if that makes sense, type of two in the chat, if that makes sense, if the correlation between assets and the dollar has to go down in order for assets to rise, then who the fuck am I to get in the way of that? I'm just want to fire my seat on the bus, fire my seat on the train, and sit me right here and you know what I'm talking about? So the way that I think is U.S. oil run this entire global economy, but the dollar itself is the opposite of oil. The dollar itself is what gets inflated. The dollar itself is what gets printed, right? So that's what more fundamentals. But it's like it's not like I got a fucking ear in the treasury to tell me when they finna print money. So I gotta be able to see it on the charts. High here for a higher high in 84, higher high in 01, and I'm sorry, and lower high in 22. 22, I was in real estate, right? I wasn't born yet over here. I was about 6 years old over here. And now here I am. Well, that was 2 years ago. Here I am, 30 over here. I forgot how old I was back then. It's been a long day. But here I am over here, 30 years old. So it's like the world was waiting for me to see the same formation that it's been giving this entire time, right? So let's mark up these charts because that's what's. Oh my God! I said I wasn't gonna touch the dollar. That's what I'm not gonna do. Oh my God, that was so close. The dollar I want to leave just like that because that's one that looks good to me. But we can talk about the dollar. We're gonna mark up the other ones. The dollar one, I'm actually obsessed with how I did this one because it looks really nice. And it's been very accurate. I don't want to touch it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry. So the higher time frames are gonna show you your main trend, right? That's your macroeconomics. That's your how do you say that's your fundamental analysis, these higher time frames. Because your higher time frames, it take too long to set up. That's the higher time frames are not gonna set up on accident. Does that make sense? Type of one in the chat if that makes sense. So if we understand that there's no accidents by the time market set up to higher time frames, then you understand there ain't no accidents on stuff that happen in this world. And that's why people be claiming they woke and stuff like that, but I'm woke in finances. I'm woke in shit is the way it is because that's the way it was going to be because that's the way it always was going to be because the trend started before any of us really started paying attention to it, right? So this was the dollar in '08. Everybody talking about a recession in '08, right? But then that's the dollar pumping. But it's like, okay, boom, the dollar pumped over here too, right? In 22 and 21 going into 22, but that was also a technical recession. I knew the top, I'm sorry, I knew the bottom of the dollar in May 2021 because it was that day that I went from 50K to 350K in 5 hours. I promise you, that was the most crazy thing I ever seen in my whole life because when it comes to supply and demand, and I'm a supply and demand trader, the market, people be thinking the turnaround candle is going to be small, right? The turnaround candles, the rejection candles, the ain't small. They impulse candles. They impulse candles that's so big and so don't make no fucking sense that it's that you know that the market finna turn around. And in that case in point, in 5 hours, and for that entire week, the market was going fucking stupid every class. So I'm getting suspicious, and then I start noticing the patterns changing in the market, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm looking at the sessions, right? So beginning with the sessions, there's 3 sessions. There's Asia, well, there's 4 sessions, but me, I like to consolidate things, right? So the fourth session is what Aussie and Asian. I just group them as one session, and I call it Asian session because it's the same area to me. I don't want to. I love simplicity, right? Although I'm not the simplest. I am pretty simple, but I'm not the simplest person. I guess I would say, because I don't know. I just have a mindset, but I'm very eccentric. But some people could say I'm crazy. But I always have an idea, and that's what I want to bring to the world. I want to bring the ideas to the world because shit, there's some things that I wish I would have thought of. Well, there's some shit that where I thought about it first, and I just didn't say nothing about it, right? Like certain shit that be on TV, or like people that damn, what was it? It's like certain how do you say franchises and certain products that get sold. It's like I swear to God, I thought about that one time. I'm like, man, they thought about it first. They thought about it faster. So the way that I trade, everyone technically will think of it the same way. I'm just doing it better because my mindset is different, right? Type of winning trap, if that makes sense. So in order to get a different result than the rest of the people in the world, you got to do different shit. And if everyone in the world is technically tries to trade and everyone in the world, 99% of them lose money, then what is the difference? Patience, consistency, and then, oh shit, there's one more. I'll figure it out later. But for show patience, for show consistency. Oh, and then being resilient. Yeah, and being resilient because you see how many fucking accounts I done blew in front of these people that's fucking regular and ain't never had 100K day in their life, and they went, this shit, shut the fuck up. I don't care, you know. And I'm just glad that I could, and awake them into, hey, this might not be for you, but it don't make no sense because I know that if I'm struggling, I want to do and did do everything that I could to get the fuck on. To me, when people don't like to trade, it's because they haven't hit rock bottom hard enough. To me, rock bottom was my electricity going out every fucking day. Every day my electricity went out. Every day I was fucking hungry. I used to eat like $1 a day at fucking McDonald's. Back when they had that dollar menu, that dollar cheeseburger, double cheeseburger, whatever the fuck it was. Because I'm that bro. I didn't have no fucking money. I had to save all the money I could for rent. I couldn't even make $1,200. That's what I'm saying. So trading different. You got an option in life, and you don't even have to quit. You just got to understand patterns, and you got to be willing to be patient. So the main pattern is going to be the recession was here, bing, and that was nothing more than the dollar going up. But people get rich in recessions because they have to already have that mindset of assets go up. Damn! Look at what my cursor is. That's crazy. I just saw that. Damn, I'm great. I'm good. Oh my God, I'm about to have the biggest year ever. Y'all ready for this? Type of three in the chat if y'all ready because we're about to make so much money this year. It don't make no sense to be honest. Cause I'm on a different level. I don't even. Psh, oh my God. It's gonna take a long time to knock me off this high horse. I'm not gonna hold you because I'm going crazy this year. Watch. So this was a recession, right? Boom. I'm just a little ass kid. I don't know shit about this. Dollar go up. Look at 21. You see where I just marked that green line right here? That was 21. Didn't I just say? I noticed that market was turning around because the infos candles is your big ass candles going into a level of supply and demand. And I made so much money that second week of May. So I'm like, this shit is suspicious. That shit was suspicious. So I timed the uptrend right and I timed the downtrend right. So then catch me 2025. I'm still doing the same shit. 2 weeks of trend, 3 is confirmation. I've been doing this shit since over here. You have to understand the market, how the market works. You need time in the market, but people be trying to time the market. I made my first million time in the market because I'm a dog. I mean, I was that without even knowing what I was doing for real. I was consistent enough to understand the pattern, but the way I did it is I would just buy every US session, but that was me as an intraday trader. But it was very risky because at any moment in time, any of those accounts could have blew. Any of those accounts could have blew, and I probably wouldn't be here today. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe I would be, but maybe I wouldn't be, right? So the luck came from the age that I was born in. That's the only thing lucky about anybody's journey. The time that they born. Because my mom and grandma and my sisters, they're all very smart, right? They're very educated women. But, everybody got their own quirks. I'm not perfect. I got my own little quirks too. My ass got anger issues sometimes. I'll be losing my fucking mind. And then I calm down like, I ain't have to do all that. Then I'm like, fuck it. That's how they are. I think if my mom was born at the time that I was born, maybe she would have been the one breaking the generational curse. But instead, it's me, and it's something that comes natural to me because I understand patterns. But I've been understanding patterns and noticing patterns at a young age. So when it comes to trading, people think trading is about finances, and trading is about patterns and habits. So I had to change my budgeting habits. I had to change my spending habits. I had to change my eating habits in order to lose weight. I tried to change my activity habits. Technically, I gotta not sit down and get the fuck up and start lifting. My consistency across those habits, all those habits changed, but my consistency had to be the constant reps every day. And that's why if I have success in all that, You can't talk about success and losing weight if you ain't never lost weight before. You know what I'm talking about? You can't talk about success and making money if you ain't never made money before. You can't talk about success and flipping tiny ass accounts into big ass amounts because I done it to seven figures, six figures, publicly, private. I've done it so many times, and it's the consistency of now. The only thing that I'm doing is I'm trying to do it long distance. I'm trying to do a wide stance RDL because everybody know about the RDL. Everybody can pivot their hips. They choose not to pivot their hips, but why? What happens if you widen your legs just a little bit more? You're gonna be working the muscles better that way. But it takes technique. It takes niche, and niche is only formed from repetition and actually a love of doing what I like to look at it. It's money, it's a easy way to make money. But even if my spending habits didn't change, then making more money not gonna change nothing either because the money is not going to last long. So my spending habits came from working at Brio Tuscan Grill, still struggling, got BB&T to pay me out. But then I'm like, why am I having my money over here in the bank? I should just start trying to invest money again because I already started investing in 2016. So it's like that 2016 was the first time I invested. I wasn't consistently investing in 2017, 2018 because I'm so worried about getting evicted and trying to make money, right? But going into 2000, later 2017, later 2018, for sure 2019, that's where 2019 came from of Merrill Lynch terminated a relationship with me last year, but that was an 11-year relationship. All of my brokerages accounts I started like 2018, 2019. Well, no, because yeah, no, so longer than that, but I've been invested in them since like 2019. So that's where the 11 years came from. So 2016 is when I first started investing. That was how did I get to 11 years? So yeah, yeah, yeah. See how it all lined up? So then when you look at this here of my habits back then, my habits now, habits in weight, spending habits. If you don't find a way to budget, you making more money not gonna help you. If you do not find the habits of yourself, trying to find the habits and patterns in the market not gonna do nothing either because some people can't even understand that they habits is wrong in life, right? So if I understand that the dollar itself is at a low on the monthly level, and I see even back then I was great. I was a great trader. I've always been a great trader, but I wasn't this raw to where I'm looking at it back then and I'm going long distances. I'm basically running long distance. I'm swimming long distance. I'm working out for a long ass time. I'm doing reps. I'm the person that's working out 8 hours a day, but instead of working out my muscles on my body, I'm working out the muscles in my body, my anxiety, my brain, my shit, and trying to hold longer to see how much it can go because if the market has been going down, the dollar say since 85, why can't my money be making money since 85? Even though I wasn't here yet, my grandma and my mama and them was here and I could have had their money from 85, but I don't have their money from 85 because they wasn't doing what I'm doing now. So the mindset is different, but they didn't have the access to the internet that I have. That's where the look come from. Type of two in the chat if that makes sense. So now it's time to understand lower lows and lower highs makes up the entirety of the market, right? Of the how do you say the pattern for a downtrend. And before I get into that, let me show you this. You see this green line I just drew, the dotted line? There's a buy setup and there's a sell setup. Buy setup up to the high. I'm sorry, yeah. Impulse to the upside, retest to the downside, trade, right? That retest to the downside is your second entry. The retest from the level of previous supply is going to be you getting in early. Over here, this is just the impulse. You don't need to add on the impulse if you're buying. So you should always be buying red candles and understand that the market, whether the market is buying or selling, is made up every single time frame, every single pattern, every single day, every single week, every year is made up of red and green candles. So if you cannot be patient enough to survive those red candles and be patient enough to wait for the red candles to come in order to buy, that's gonna be why you don't make your first 100K, your first seven figures. You know what I'm talking about? Because you're not gonna get the accounts that high with bad habits, and I am aware enough to know that because that's why I know what I'm doing. And Doc, it was actually paying attention. That's why I like having other traders in my groups too, because they pay attention to the stuff that I might not even know that I'm subconsciously doing. On he noticed I'm a break and retest trader for sure, right? But I'm anticipating so hard the last couple of weeks that the market was going to do what it did. I'm over here trying to tell the market what time to do some shit. That's basically what was going on. So I'm over here buying breakouts instead of breaks and retests. So I switched that habit up, and now I've been holding a $10 account for 2 weeks. But it's a matter of my habits haven't been bad because I've been able to get them to a few thousand at a time, but they haven't been good enough to make it to 10K for each account. The habits getting good enough means if you can make it from 100 to 10K, then your habits are amazing. That's the difference. Type of one in the chat if that makes sense. So if that's the rules of an uptrend, the rules of a downtrend look the exact same, exact fucking same, except now you gotta go the opposite way. Impulse from a downside coming from a level of demand, retest to the top side, and then trade. When the market is selling, you either getting in early right here or you getting in right here. By the time the market right here, and then that's the setup on every time frame to where I like looking at this pattern because every single chart, every single time frame will show you this pattern and show you this pattern. But then you got to understand which time frames matter the most and show higher time frames. Your macroeconomics. If macroeconomics is fundamentals, then I don't need to know fundamentals because I can see the macro, right? So a downtrend is impulse to the downside, retest to the upside, and then trade continuation. And that's exactly what the dollar is doing here when it goes sorry, retest to the oh shit. Retest here. Boom, 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 oops, boom. Oh my god, it's beautiful. I don't know about y'all, but I feel amazing about 2026. But yeah, that's what the dollar is doing. So subconsciously, now it's like correlation is one thing, right? Correlation is one thing, but the patience is another because the assets they don't all move at the same time, and and you got to be okay with that. So that's why y'all notice when I do these account flips on the forex side, I actually like the way that all the assets balance each other out. Because the dollar itself you can't trade, but the dollar itself is the indicator because you're basing all the assets growth off of the dollar. I knew what the close was gonna be because it's been the same thing all year, right? We came off the monthly chart. Let's go down to the weekly chart. The weekly chart down here, I was up shit. I was up 750K by then on just investing in crypto and stuff like that. That was a big year overall, but that 700 to 750K was I ain't never seen no shit like it before. So I'm like, okay, boom. So and then 2022, I'm in real estate, and I catch this over here too. I'm a part of all of this. I remember catching GU when it was at like 103. It was like a Sunday going into a Monday. So it was like a Sunday Asian going into a Monday. The big ass impulse candle into demand in 22. At the same time, the dollar is impulsing to the high. GU is impulsing to the downside because the dollar getting ready to turn bearish and GU getting ready to turn bullish. So you got to understand your impulses when you get some weeks that look odd, like, oh, this shit sounds so suspicious. It's probably fucking suspicious. You got something that you made so much money, all of a sudden pull that shit. I promise you the market can turn around. And that's how I felt about that 65K trade because I promise you when the market fell from 75K to 49K in a matter of minutes, I was like, that shit hurt. But that's how people feel when I'm up a band and then I blow that whole dang, like, that shit hurt. I totally get it. Except my shit is at least 100x from that. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's my tail, but that's coming from experience and conviction. And shit, I've made money over this amount of time trading, so I have money stashed away. I have a savings. I don't know what everyone's stash looks like. You know what I'm talking about? And I don't know. I try to keep that in mind, but that's why I was trading that $10 account because that's something to where I will fuck up $100 account on some entries. I'm the one trader that you probably ain't never seen no trader with no 2,000 entries or some shit, but it's me. That's me. But in order to not scare everybody, I have to start with a smaller account, me personally, because if I don't, we would have had 1,000 entries already, and we was damn near at 100 entries. So I'm keeping up pace and setting a pace for everybody, and I started with a way lower account. I just didn't tell everybody else, but I know I have the skills to grow that account. But the small account actually keeps me in check because I'm not ever gonna be afraid to enter nothing. You know what I'm talking about? But if I'm at a 10x lower than y'all, then I have to watch my entries because I am more risky. I'm probably one of the riskier traders that most people will trade with, but that's because I know the rules of the market of the dollar is in a consistent downtrend. So I need to make sure that I'm consistently looking for a reason to trend down as well when I'm looking for the market to go. So if the dollar itself has been made a high here, high here, high here, two makes a trend, three is confirmation. And there's patterns and stuff, but go through the course and stuff like that. But I just gave you the synopsis of how I lived, reminding y'all of the setup that we're looking for, and then we finna start breaking down the charts. I just didn't want to redo DXY because this one is superb. So I just want to leave this one the way it is. But the higher time frame dollar, it's already made three. Your trend confirmation came from March. You see that? Type of one in the chat if you see that. So by the time I start trading everybody out, I'm done with my 8 month hiatus. I think I left in like what, April. Um, dollar right here. And you see this yearly 2025. That's what I named this trend line. Let me make sure I locked it. Yeah, I locked that trend line. This was the yearly chart that held 2025 together. So if this dollar has been selling all of 2025 and we have made, you know how I was talking about the rules of a downtrend, made consistent lower lows and lower highs the entire time. By the time I get down here, this was November, but November is retesting this bottom. You see that? Type of two in the chat if you see that. This was November where I came back, and then it's retesting the bottom of September, which is good because when we get into the assets, they're doing the same thing but opposite, if that makes sense, right? So let me see. So yeah, this was December 31st right here. You see that on the Wednesday, but this trend line was holding it together for like a day, for like 24 hours. But overall, we've been selling again from the previous lower high since December 19th. And we retested the bottom of that really the end of December, but it's come up a little bit, but our entries are so good that we safe over here. You know what I'm talking about? Because all we're doing is retesting this. So if I have one main bias that I have for each pair, my main bias for DXY is always bearish. So it's very hard for the market to confuse me. I'm not confused at all. You know what I'm talking about? If I'm not entering, it's because I'm waiting on something. And I might not see what I'm looking for yet. But recently, I mean, it's been giving me exactly what I'm looking for. I'm ecstatic about what the year looks like. I was very surprised about the 60 entries, but the way that I do it and the way that I got to where I am is I critique myself. I think about what I could have did better, and the only thing that I think I could have, we good in the entries right now, but what I could have did better was I could have I think I want to start keeping the margin level percentages at like three above 300% because I have to. It's it's a superpower to be a trader, and there's a superpower in managing your own account, but there is another. It's another skill to manage other people's accounts and to share your idea with the real. You know what I'm talking about? And then in order to execute that idea, it takes a different skill in order to do that too, because it's a matter of I could do it real quick by myself. You know how they say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, to go together. I say my goal is 100K for these account flips. You know what I'm talking about with the public. But I could really take these hosts to a million because I could critique myself so much to where even with those entries being gone last night, we were good. But I was trying to critique myself to see what I could do better, and that's what's gonna make that what makes me different from most traders. Even at the top, I critique myself because I'm trying to get faster. I'm trying to be longer. I'm trying to be in longer. I'm trying to always be in bigger. I'm always trying to be the best because there's people out there making 8 figures a month, 10 figures a month, 7 figures a month, and it's not me. So there's something that they know that I don't know. But I promise you, I know so much now, and I'm always still learning every day. Don't matter, don't matter. I promise you, any friends that talk to me, they on Zoom right now too. I'm learning all the time. I'm crazy, but I'm learning all the time. I cancel plans just to sit in the house and learn some more because I don't even care. You know, I'm talking about like what's it called? So if I understand the rules of a downtrend, and I've already worked my way from 85 to 26, and I see the same downtrend retesting the bottom side of this over here in 26, I'm like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. That's where I'm at, right? So now let's start with Forex and then work our way into crypto futures, right? When it comes to oil, man, oil, I have not honestly seen in a little minute. So before I start talking about oil, let's mark up oil, right? So, yeah, I got both mentorships, or should have both mentorships. I sprung it on everybody, so I know everybody's busy, but I'm just gonna go over how you guys are supposed to mark up charts, right? But I probably won't mark up quarters on every single chart, if that makes sense. Because I don't, I made quarter points for you guys because not everybody could see the supply and demand. I will say this too: support and resistance and supply and demand is the same thing. I think a lot of y'all know that now, but just in case you don't, it's the same thing. And that was me growing as a trader to have to understand it's the same thing because even back then I used to be like, oh, support and resistance is one price and supply and demand is multiple prices. That shit is dumb. Now I still think about it now, 8 years later, because it's just adding extra steps of don't need to be there. It's not even confusing. It's just a step that you don't have to think about because it doesn't matter, right? So I added the supply and demand, the quarter points as supply and demand, as yours were support and resistance because some people don't have that natural eye to trading like I do, and that's okay. But if I have a natural eye and I know that I could critique it to where you can see it better, then that's what I'm going to do. So your quarter points, I only put the major holes and major halves. That's gonna be your whole numbers and then your half numbers, right? So with U.S. oil, I'm gonna put you can mark your horizontal lines anywhere, and I try not to keep it chaotic, right? So I like to put like 5 horizontal lines total on the chart, and I really started on like the weekly and the monthly time frame because I just think I get a better outlook like that because the your horizontal lines they're gonna be there even when you get down to the lower time frames, but you might not be able to see them until you get closer to the price, if that makes sense. Type of one in the chat if that makes sense. So coordinates. This one I'm gonna put 115 right there, and then I'm gonna put let me see. I mean, you could do 110, but oil so far down here, I'm gonna skip some of these numbers. I just put 115 because I was, right there, I guess. 100, and then we got. I'm gonna do 90. When it comes to marking these, hang on. I'm sorry, I'm tripping. Oh my god, oil's all the way at 57. I don't even know why I started all the way the fuck up there. I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm over here losing my mind. I'm starting down here. Ignore me. What the fuck is it doing all the way down there? All right, so let's start at 70. Because to me, 115 and 100 don't even matter until we start breaking higher. You know what I'm talking about? So that's why I erased that. That's my ideas behind it to me, if that makes sense. So I think that might help some of you guys. 60, 50, 50. Yeah, I figured this was gonna be the best thing because I got actually a lot of private Zooms next week too. So I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do because it's a lot of Zooms on the way. So I ain't had shit to do today. So I was like, oh, let's just bust out a multi-hour Zoom today. I felt like that was gonna be great. So I'm glad y'all came. One, two, three, four. Who am I missing? So we got 55, 60, 50, and then let's put 65. Yeah, that looks good. So, let me do that. 65. Boom, right? So let's break this down and talk it out. Oil itself has been going down since 22. We see that. That's how, and every single time y'all see me make an analysis, this is how I talk to myself every single time. I do not know why, even when it comes to the bloopers and stuff, that's just what I do to myself. So I was like, I might as well have y'all on it, and y'all could do it too. And y'all could just listen to me. It's less crazy if I'm talking to a group of people instead of myself, right? So I think I should do this more often. What's it called? Here we go. Type a 3 in the chat if y'all don't mind a Saturday Zoom sometimes. Okay, so oil itself has been going down since 22. The next lower high came in 23. Like next lower high came in 24. Next one came in 25. Right now, right now, you see how we have the monthly candles slowly coming down, right? But the monthly candles is kind of falling to where it's like a falling wedge, right? So in the chorus, you got ascending flags and you got descending flags. Descending flags typically lead to a bullish momentum. Ascending flags typically lead to bearish momentum. So your ascending flags is gonna be your bullish candles, such as this right here. And when I draw my trend lines, I draw them based off of the bodies of the candle, so I connect all the bodies. Some time frames will give you the different like opportunities to make your trend lines, but trend lines change. Not typically on the higher time frames very much, but trend lines can change, but zones typically hold. Also, trend lines can be broken, but zones typically hold. So I try to keep that in mind. But if I understand that the dollar and oil, the correlation is the dollar and oil should never go the same direction. And if I got the dollar falling and I got the oil set up as a bearish input, well, a bearish flag going to the downside, that should pop up on the monthly time frame. And I understand that when I caught crypto and start calling out the buys for what was it in November, it was on the weekly time frame, and the weekly time frame and the monthly time frame to me is the same because they show me macroeconomics. It's showing me that the market is getting in correlation, but not all the pairs move at the same time, right? So when I was a new trader, I used to be confused because I would of course use correlation, but I was so heavy in the market to where my account couldn't survive sometimes unless I was timing it. But the safest way to trade is time in the market and time in the market. That's why getting those end of year entries was important to me because I already a month before knew what the market was trying to do, but I don't know when things are going to happen, and I have to account for manipulation, but I don't necessarily know how long I'm going to be getting manipulated. But I promise you, everybody going into the new year, they're probably like they probably didn't have time to catch nothing because they was over there partying and shit, and they thinking, oh, I'll just get the market on tomorrow, and that bitch was closed. They couldn't even get in nothing because most of the brokers closed everything, and we was fine because we already planned ahead. I'm talking about we built the ark before the flood. So since my anticipation came from November going into December, every single week I don't change nothing about the way that my analysis for the market was, if that makes sense. Because to me, if I, in order to change my trading side, my bias, it would literally, like, how do I explain it? I would have to absolutely want to be a seller or absolutely want to have to be a buyer. But back then, I would blow my account not because I was too big in the market, but because I didn't understand my one true bias and every single asset class. And bias can change, but every asset class has their one true bias going into the week, going into the month, going into the year, right? So if the dollar itself on the yearly chart has already shown me that it's bearish, then I should already be looking for an opportunity potentially to buy US oil. Oil itself is already showing me this descending flag right here. So what I do for my higher time frames, I low key like the color code. It kind of keep me um you know, all in one because what's it called? How do you say? Like I like my red and green trend lines, but I think I save those more for the lower time frames. And when it comes to the higher time frames, I mark them orange because TradingView has an app and my charts automatically save. So then when I look it up on the app, if I'm just on the go, because that's where I monitor my trades. I'm trading through different apps such as MT5 and Liquid Brokers, but every single time that I'm marking up is always on TradingView because I'm the consistent variable in every part of every entry, right? The way that I mark up is the same since 2019, but every single year I get more savvy in it, right? And where I am now is I've already been making money for a long time. I'm just trying to get faster at it, right? I want to be the fastest at it, and the people with the fastest ideas make the most money. The trend lines, how do you say? The trend lines on, oh, that's what I want to show you. Okay, so check this out. The trend lines right here, you saw how I just drew those on the candlesticks and I mark them on the bodies of the candles and not the wicks. If you change it to the line chart, it could give you a faster entry because you see how I marked it on the bodies and not the wicks. You see how it's not even touching it. But then watch this. If I mark it right here, and then I connect it from this start. You see how they got this hump right here? And I just want it to be make a two is two makes the trend. So two draws your trend line, three is confirmation. If that trend line is that, let me mark that purple. My purple ones is going to represent the line chart for my trend lines. And I'm gonna start at this second fractal here. The line chart giving you an earlier entry, and that's what I'm saying. I study to a point to where I'm the best at it because I know the most about it. And I'm willing to be wrong to test something out because it's only so long you're going to be wrong when it only take one time to get right. So that's where I see it. So now I flip it back into the candlesticks, and you see how the line chart it look a whole lot different than the candlesticks when it comes to supply and demand, support and resistance, finding a buy or a sell into the market. You can find a buy or a sell off of any trend line, off of any how do you say, different way to trade, Fibonacci, goddamn zone, stuff like that. Elliott waves. I used to trade Elliott waves too. That's how I caught gold the bottom in the first place at Elliott wave. I've been all kinds of traders in the last fucking 8 years, but all that experimenting came from the first two. I stopped experimenting after 2019 because I found what worked, and if it's not broke, don't fix it. But you also don't want to get to the point to where you're trying to reinvent the wheel. I've never reinvented the wheel. I just spin it better and I spin it faster. So my purple trend lines are representing an earlier entry into the market. Your orange trend lines give you an entry into the market, but it's later. So in my head, I'm like, if the earlier entry into the market is right here, then if I could get in earlier, that means I could get in bigger, right? So right now I'm teaching everybody how to trade these small accounts and take it into the bigger accounts, because trading small accounts is important, because that's what I mean. A lot of people don't have no fucking $10,000. That's why small accounts is important. But that's some shit that's common sense to me. That's the shit that I don't understand. People don't get. Not everybody has $10,000. They understand they don't have the fucking money, but they don't understand why they can't trade with 10,000. You don't fucking have it. That's why. So it's like you have to be skilled enough to be patient enough in this market in order for the money to grow, because your patience has grown, and that's how you're going to be making money and understand the rules of the game. Which I'm not gonna go too in depth of the rules because we gotta mark up all these charts because that's in the course. But once you know the rules, now you just critiquing yourself on getting faster. So to me, oil has been going down since 22, but even then, since going down since 22, there's been multiple opportunities to be a buyer in the market and a seller in the market. Right there, I'm trying to see that trend line, but I don't like it right there because it is not touching enough fractals. In order for, oops, that was my bad. In order for a trend line to be made, it has to touch enough fractals. So this right here is where I could say the supply curve started for US oil. So I don't even want to mark a trend line there because I want to start it at this fractal now. And that's where it's like you have to be able to pivot. That was an example of me pivoting too, of me not even like I know y'all are on here, but I don't have y'all on my screen, but I naturally have to do that, if that makes sense. I naturally have to do that way because that's just the way that I interpret it. So now even looking at the higher time frames is going to show you a clearer picture than the lower time frames, but your lower time frames are going to show you your lower time frames is going to show you the entry, if that makes sense. I don't make an analysis. I don't have to make an analysis lower than the 4 hour time frame, because if my bias isn't there by the time I jump to the 4 hour chart, it was never there. It's not there. It's not there yet, right? So let me see. Let me draw some zones real quick. Type A 2 in the chat if you're with me while I draw these zones. So me there. And then we got let me see. Zone right here. We got a zone right there. Oops. Beep. And then I got a potential zone right here. But I'm waiting for a possible buying opportunity. So I want to mark this green. You know what I'm talking about? And then this is going to be orange to mark my other higher time frame ones. And then, but y'all see them purple trend lines, so that's why I know it's about that line chart. I'm gonna take that off though, because I ain't gotta use that right now. But that's just little stuff that I picked up on here and there when I be hiding away. Let me see. Let me draw a trend line here. Trend line here, and trend line here, right? All right, so we see that we got lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. In a downtrend, all your entries need to come from the lower highs. They don't necessarily have to come off the monthly chart, because the monthly chart is not going to set up that often. But I don't mind the setups coming from the daily chart and the 4 hour chart, if that makes sense. Ooh, I had already saw it too. Oh my God, let's mark our way all the way down because I saw something crazy right there on the 4 hour chart. So if so, going down, and if you sell in the market, then you need to be selling it from a high point, and your high point is coming from the lower highs. So those random impulses into the market every single time you get a high is big ass candles like this. That's what you gotta start taking note of. Of these are the turnaround candles, and then I gotta take note of and be conscious enough and use my critical thinking skills of this is a descending flag. Descending flags for a long period of time have been leading to a bullish momentum. A bullish momentum is an uptrend. An uptrend means the market should be making continuous higher highs and higher lows. The behavior of this pair is starting to change. That's what I look at. So the April 25 was big because everyone's turnaround point was actual April. When it came to crypto and a lot of force pairs, we retested on top of April. When it comes to oil, we're retesting April right now, but we're retesting it at a level of demand. Type of one in the chat if that makes sense, right? We're retesting it at a level of demand in April, so I'm anticipating oil going up higher because of the level that it is at. And the last time we were at this level, it skyrocketed. So I anticipate two making a trend because technically this is three. It's already skyrocketed from here one more time on the lower time frame, if that makes sense. So I'm noticing the behavior has changed because of where it is right now. We've been in this area one, two, three, and right now four times, and four times, really five times, because four different times before that, every time it gets in this area, it's really trying to get the fuck on, right? So now we on the daily chart. I'm sorry. What I forgot to say was the weekly chart itself. I would consider the weekly chart still bearish. Hang on. Well, let me look at this right here. I need to go further out before I say that. Actually, because if I was to draw a line right here, and if I was to draw and make it, let me see. Well, no, not purple. I can't see that shit. Let me make it pink, right? And then let me make it not dotted. So this pink line, if I'm comparing it to that, technically oil is still bearish on the weekly chart, right? If I drag it a little bit further out to see possibly where, let me see where this week is. So this week right here, so what's that, 55? Where is 55 right here? 55 right here is technically right here, right? You could draw a zone there. I wouldn't necessarily draw a line there, but that's where I'm talking about seeing in long distance because very few people will take it all the way back 4 years back just to see, I look left in order to see right. A lot of people are going to get confused because they're looking at this. A lot of people probably don't see this right here. A lot of people don't understand the correlation between the dollar and oil. They don't understand that the dollar itself has already been going down for a year. Oil itself and the dollar cannot go the same direction. So that's all of the confirmations. When people be talking about confirmations in the market, that's that confirmation they're talking about. That's confirmation that they should be talking about. So that's what I'm telling you. So let me actually, I'm gonna make that one blue just so I can show that that's different. There we go. So you see that? So now we get down to the daily chart. If it got close to this area again, but the first time it really tried to tap it was in April. It tried it again in May, and every single time it's slowly getting away. But the trend can continue to go up as long as we stay above it, and we're consistently, slowly trying to make higher lows, if that makes sense. So this is low here, this is low here, but that's on the daily chart. Move it down into the 4 hour chart. It's really like a complicated pattern, but you gotta still look out for stuff like this. That's why I like these circles. It kind of keep me in line. Let me just mark this. I'm gonna make this like blue. Um, that, that, and that. That's low, high, higher, low. That's going to be how you identify buy setup every time. You identify sell setup by a high, a low, and a lower high. That's how you identify sell setup. That setup and this setup can appear on any time frame. The time frames that matter the most are your higher time frames. Does that make sense? So then you get to the lower time frame. Remember when I said by the time I get to the 4 hour chart, I don't want to think about bias no more. So weekly chart to me is gonna be bullish because of this right here, 21. I'm not worried about 25 because we just came off 25. Oil, if I looked at 25 only, if I looked at oil only, I would be confused. But because I have the knowledge of the other pairs in my head already, I know that this I don't have to worry about because all the other pairs are set up for dollar to go down, assets to go up. And in reverse psychology, reverse oil and the dollar should never go the same direction. So by default, oil has to go up. But now we're waiting for the fundamental analysis to come out on why is it that oil has to go up. You know what I'm talking about? That what is that? My bad. My puppy's being bad as shit. I thought he was doing something. He is doing something. Wait, sound like a mouse. I bet not have no mouse in here. That's crazy. Um, Sounds like a mouse for sure though. So this is a low, high, higher low. Higher high, higher low. Oh shit, you see this right here? Look at this. They tried to psych people out right here. This shit tried to go underneath December 26th all the way into the new year and still closed above it. That's a higher low. That's a higher low. This close. And anticipation would be higher high. Higher high has to take out this high, or it could be an equal high. If it's a downtrend, you cannot make a higher high. So the downtrend technically is already invalidated because we just said our weekly chart is bullish. We just looked at our daily chart has made higher highs and higher lows. That's bullish. It's only higher lows, higher highs, or lower lows, lower highs. If it's not lower, it's higher. If it's not higher, it's lower. Black and white, no gray. People be thinking it's gray because they want to make money by Friday, but sometimes you got to look at the market in the stance of maybe 7 to 14 days. Because I used to look at it between 1 to 2 days or a few hours of the day, but the better, I would say the more that you know, the easier it is to long for a longer period, hold for a longer period of time because it makes sense, right? So even though oil was closed, I see what it's going to do because we already know what the dollar is doing. The dollar has the same setup but reverse. Gold itself, we've been buying since 3,800. But gold the only one that didn't get manipulated like that because looking at it, gold respected price action really well, and it's the only one that actually truly took off for the entire time for the last 2 months. Everything else at some point kind of got held back, if that makes sense. Type a two in the chat if that makes sense. But that's why understanding rules of an uptrend and downtrend is important. Gold chart is actually one that I'm actually going to leave to because gold itself has been holding this trend line since November the 4th and is going this much. But now it's at a level of this right here. I see that it's broken that trend line. That's what I'm taking note of. But like I said, trend lines break, zones don't. Technically, it's at a zone right here of, let me mark it. It's right here. I see it. Do, 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 do. Like this right here. But it's a matter of waiting for it to fully get back above here because it is. I do my zones across the wicks, so it's the wick that is the bottom of this all the way down to the little the little dot line there. So I drag it all the way across, and then I see that we impulse out of it. But if it can't hold above this zone, then I think the gold has a potential of continuing bearish. But I like to go to a higher time frame if it gets confusing. So the 4 hour chart to me on gold doesn't look good at all right now because it looks like a lot of noise. So anytime I get confused like that, I start moving up time frames, if that makes sense. So that's why I know gold for over a long period of time because I've been buying golds like literally since over here, right? In 2000, well, shit, really in 2017, but for sure since 2019, that was my big trade setup. I caught that with an Elliott wave. I didn't even catch it the way that I trade now. But knowing that gold over a long period of time, because I can think in long distance, has been going up and it's consistently been making higher highs and higher lows, I take note that it's broken that trend line. That trend line's been holding it together for 2 months. I take note what primarily is it doing, but I have to watch out for the time frames between the weekly chart, daily chart, and 4 hour chart because the weekly chart shit. The weekly chart is not going to change as often as the 4 hour chart and daily chart. But even right now, this weekly close, the dot sorry, shit. It's like I'm over here. I was like, what the fuck is his name in here? Gold is weekly chart. I haven't looked at gold. I haven't looked at a lot of the charts all week. I've just been executing. When I'm executing, I can't necessarily look at the. It's like I'm consistently making decisions when I'm pulling the trigger. That's where I be. So sometimes I'll be having to move the zooms because I'm consistently making decisions. So even when in account flips and stuff like that, I don't necessarily get to the enjoyment part until all the trades is closed and then I can take a breather because now I'm trying to see where the market is and what it's doing and what it possibly could do and make a decision on do I have enough to feel like I should take this profit? What's this profit gonna do for me? To me personally, if the profit isn't going to do something substantial, like I used to be at a point to where profits I was trying to get it to pay bills. But now I'm past that. I want the profits to get to yearly salaries because Now I know that I can do that for people because of the way that I see things. Because not everyone might not see things the way that I do. So it might be harder for them to see that you can turn 100 into 100K because not many people can do that if very many at all. But I was watching this one podcast and it said, and this dude, he was older trader. He what was it? He did 20,000 into fucking 70 million. I could do that because I see people do stuff like that all the time, but they doing it at a fast pace. I've done it so consistently. I'm doing it at a pace to where I'm slowing it down, but I'm doing it at a longer swing because I'm taking more people with me. So that 60 entry spam yesterday scared people. That's just 60 entries. I'm a trader that can have 2,000 entries on the play in a matter of a few days. But now I'm not even thinking of it in the span of just a few days. I'm looking at this market over on, I want to take weekly lows on uptrends and I'm buying these weekly lows and I'm manipulating the market and pushing myself further and further. I'm basically hiring the CEOs and the companies to work for me because you know that saying, a penny compounded every day is more than such and such amount of money. That is, I swear to God, they was talking about trading. Excuse me, I swear they was talking about trading. And what's it called? Because the penny in trading is leverage. Now, investing, they were talking about compound investing and stuff like that. And compound, well, investing in general, it should be the easiest thing for people. But honestly, if you're not going to hold an asset for 10 years, it's going to be hard for you to make money in it because even multi months, the last 2 months have been bearish on assets on some asset classes. Some people can't handle that bearish on assets, and when it comes to stocks, it's a lot less volatile than Forex trading or crypto trading, right? So if it's a lot less volatile than Forex trading and crypto trading, then it's like it should be easy, but people can't even handle being down say $30 shit, not even in a day, and because unless you invested in tech, a lot of the stocks aren't swinging on $30 a day. Only tech could really do that for real. That's what I've seen. So if unless you get used to the way that investing in stocks work, it's going to be hard for you to want to invest in a asset on the super leveraged side of the market, the unregulated side of the market. But that's where you can make the most amount of money with the least amount of money by just knowing the same rules that all the regulated places are giving you. They're just not giving you the leverage because they understand that the rules can be found out and followed. You just have to have enough persistence and discipline to follow them. You know what I'm talking about? But some people don't get to that point because they don't have enough money to keep playing the game, and that's what it come down to at the same time. When I had my case dismissed in August, it was a matter of I had enough money to play the game for a long time to where the government eventually gave up. Like the best thing I learned from Trump is just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, and I've been rolling with it ever since. I swear to God. So it's just a matter of if I didn't have enough money to say no one more time, because even my attorney tried to get to a point to where she tired of fucking looking the judge cussing her ass out because she like oh shit, like we tired of this shit. So she trying to pressure me into a deal, and I'm looking at her like, oh, I'm sorry, I paid you like 10 bands. You finna go say no some more because to me it's like they if they went this low and all this shit that happened, then they finna go a little bit lower because I'm not finna punk myself. And that's basically what the market does. It's trying to punk people all the time because the dollar itself is on. I'm sorry, the gold itself is on a long term uptrend. Um, what's it called? Then you need to look at it long term. Every consolidation leads into the direction of an uptrend. So then even the red candles is an entry into the uptrend. So then it's like your answer is only up, right? So now when it gets to current price action, you gotta understand, or do you really realize, like, do you really believe that rule? Because at first the 4 hour chart was looking scary. Now looking at the weekly chart and I see what the dollar is doing, I have this line here, but it really needs to be down here. So yes, that look good. I like that. That look good. That's a weekly retest right there. That's why it looks so stupid. Um, what is this? Well, I don't have to mark up all that. Well, I'm just gonna leave gold like that because gold is it already has so much marked up to where I want to leave this trend line here because it's already in play. If people only look at this time frame, it's gonna confuse them a little bit. Now I see the pattern makes sense. It's an inverse head and shoulder on the 4 hour chart, but I had to go up to the weekly chart to see the picture. I had to zoom out to see the picture because looking at it at first it didn't make any sense because of where it is on this zone and because of this trend line break. But if a trader doesn't understand that trend lines break and zones, you just waiting for it to hold and they don't move up time frames to see what the market's actually doing, it's going they're not going to be able to see that. They're not going to be able to see this as a weekly retest, which also strengthens my conviction in the dollar and oil of of oil's getting ready to buy. It's giving a buy setup on the higher time frames, coming from 2021. The dollar itself has been selling off the entire year, and it's made its fourth lower high going into November. It's taken some of these assets a long time to turn around. Silver itself, I'm not going to talk about because silver, we really started buying silver originally in the 20s, but I didn't keep up with silver, so this bitch just took off. But silver is a perfect example of what I'm doing because there's gonna be a time to where you can't stay up all year. You can't stay up for 10 years, right? So I can want to chat if you know that you can't stay up and click, 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 click. So you gotta find a way for the money to work, and the only way the money's gonna work for you is if you have an entry into the market at all times. Because if I knew that fucking silver was going to do this, of course I would have been in it. But nobody knows nothing. Nobody knows when something's gonna happen. So that's how I see it. Nobody knows what's going to happen, so on and so forth. So, but the fact that this was a higher time frame setup, and even on the monthly chart and weekly chart, your lower lows and lower highs and consolidation is respecting every single rule. Sometimes the market can go up for weeks, for days, for months, for years, and I want every piece of it because I see it. If I can see in long distance, I watched it play out so many different times, then why would I refuse to be a part of that as well, right? Um, oh, I got these more marked up than I thought. Um, Let me see. This one I didn't fully mark up, so I'm gonna actually erase this one and then do this one with y'all. And then I'll do GU, and then I'm gonna move over to crypto futures, and then because I got actually 1,000 pairs, and then I'm gonna do some more of these. I'm gonna probably run another surprise through Zoom through the week because I'm very, I don't know. I like to talk about the pairs in detail and stuff like that because you gotta be able to understand the story. That I understand the story the best. Is the only reason I'm able to do these flips. You know what I'm talking about? It's just because I understand the story. So every pair has a story, every pair has a reasoning behind it. So when it comes to USD CAD, the importance of USD CAD is that CAD, Canada, and Mexico, they have oil and the dollar, what I was just talking about, that relationship between the oil and dollar, they cannot go the same direction. So their relationship is the oil and the dollar should one should always be bearish, one should always be bullish. But technically, it's technically dollar that should always be bullish because it's always being inflated because it's always creating more dollars, technically, right? Which brings me into the mindset to be able to articulate that the oil, it cannot be the asset that is getting inflated because it's an asset that can be scarce. So there's scarcity, and scarcity means there's forever a level of demand. You know what I'm talking about? And then so you're not printing no fucking oil. So that's why that's why I'm like, damn, the more I know, the more it makes sense. I'm not changing my bias. It don't make no sense to change nothing. It's right here in front of us. So we on the 12 month this time, right? The 12 month itself is this. Not every okay, let me say this. Not every pair is going to give you a 12-month chart. The dollar is good about its 12-month chart, like it has details and stuff like that. But some of these pairs don't have enough info to give you a 12-month chart. Oh shit, what did I just do? Let me just stop touching stuff. Where was I? USD CAD. Let me go back. Um, so since every pair is not gonna have enough info to give you the yearly chart, when those dollar pairs give me the yearly chart, I really do look at that because they are my indicators on what I am anticipating. You know how we were just talking about lower lows and lower highs? So on the yearly chart, we got high, low, boom, boom, lower high. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. I love it. So retesting, the lower high is coming from the fractal of this was the lower low on one of these lower time frames, but right now it's the lower low on the 12-month time frame, your yearly time frame. And then in 2020, and that low came in 02. That's crazy. I didn't even know that. I'm just not looking at that. So now we in 2025. Well, I'm sorry, we in 2026 now. Excuse me. We in 2026. We this little nigga right here, and then we was in here, and we experienced all of this. Right. I took 8 months of this off, and I still cook them. Right. But now it's time to cook them some more because I feel like there's a time and a place to learn, and there's a time and a place to experiment, and there's a time and a place to execute. Right. And sometimes if you so skilled, if when you skilled, it's you just know it's time to execute. Sometimes you don't have time to slow down because some people not skilled enough to execute because they didn't get enough information yet. Like there's some people that can't sign up for the signals because they don't know how to work Telegram, and I ain't got shit to do with it. Like somebody hit me up last night and was like, "Hey, can I pay you like $50 to help me da 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 da?" And I hate to be a dickhead, but at 2 o'clock in the morning was I wasn't even 2 o'clock. It was like 12 o'clock in the morning. 12 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to sit on Zoom with a stranger for $50 to talk about how to use Telegram because using Telegram is the least of your worries. But when you gotta also understand how to sign up for these accounts because they got a free trial and executing with me. They ain't got no free trial and fucking talking to me and learning with me. That shit on YouTube, and I'm sure I'm not talking, right? So it's like they're not gonna be able to keep up when it gets to a point with some of these account flips because by the time the accounts get to 10,000, they got a decision to make on is this 10,000 it's gonna change their life right now. They're gonna have to pull it. But I can risk the 10,000 because I already built my arc before the flood. So that 10,000 is all my employees every single money, like every single dollar that come in here, money, dollars, all of it, they got a name. Patricia, Stacy, Dante, Eric, I name all of them because all of them got a job and I don't have to pay them because they really paying me. And all I gotta do is find a pattern in the market. And if the pattern in the market is ascending flags lead to a down movement in the market, then I need to realize ascending flags lead to a down movement into the market. I feel like it's manipulation, but it's the same thing, bro. You know what? You know why I seen this set up before? Now that I'm looking at it, this is the 12-month chart. Look at this. Look at the dollar. You see how we go to the dollar, and then we was on the. It's right here. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Hang on. Let me do this. Dollar. Watch this. Don't this look so familiar? On this right here, it's the same setup on different time frames, same candlestick, everything, manipulation over here. The real shit. They really, if you playing it right, USD Cat been manipulating people since 2015. That's crazy. That'd make me sick. You know how old I was in 2015? Like 19. So the market had literally waited for me to get my life together, and here it is. Hey, you know what they say? The 30s is the new 20s. I guess I'm 20 again because I showed just turned 30. Was finna turn 20 over here, and they giving me the same play to run. And you know what? I'm very knowledgeable now, and I got discipline. I'm finna run the same play. So if that's USD CAD looking the same way as the dollar look on the 4 hour chart, but the 4 hour chart on the dollar for sure, that's set up on the 4 hour chart. But the dollar been selling itself since '85, then that's telling me that nothing more than USD CAD getting ready to sell off for a long period of time because we just closed beneath 2015, 2016, and retested under 2002. That makes sense. It's like we over here time traveling. Damn, we over here time traveling on Zoom, everybody. That's crazy. Type of one in the chat if you still with me. I know I talk a lot, and I try not to go over people's heads, so that's why I tell a lot of stories because I feel like it's easier to understand. Because it's like Spanish. Spanish can't tell you shit about Spanish, and I studied it for 5 years. All I know is the bad words and the bad words and hola and shit like that. But there's people that speak it fluently. I just speak finances fluently. But it took a long time because I remember in 2018, I learned from a book. I learned from Naked Forex. So starting that book, I had to read it a few times for it to make sense. But it's even like some influencers, Ty Lopez and shit like that, Hermanzi and stuff like that. Before I feel like mature enough to understand them niggas used to talk over my head. I used to not understand none of that shit. I was so confused. But I don't quit when I don't understand stuff. I'll go back after I feel like I'm ready. So I can listen to Ty Lopez and Hermanzi now because it makes sense. So then they give me different ideas in order to implement into my business, and then the decisions that they make sense to me. But it's like the decisions I make as a trader in order to be a swing and intraday trader to get time in the market and time the market. That's not a decision not a lot of people understand until they get to the level of you could really like your bottom line is whatever you put in the account 50 to 100, but if you follow the rules of the main trend of the market, then your upside is unlimited because the trend don't ever have to fucking stop. They don't ever stop, and they make money while you sleep. So if you counter trend trade, it's gonna be harder for you to go to sleep on a trade because you don't know how long the counter trend is coming. Counter trend trading is nothing wrong with it either, but you have to have a set amount of pips that you're looking to grab, right? And I am a trader that can swing continue. I'm sorry, not swing continuation. Well, that too, but I can counter trend trading and continuation trade, right? Trend trading. I can do both, but I understand that my counter trend trades, I usually have to watch out and get 50 to 100 pips because you don't know how long that counter trend is going to last, or or if it's going to hold. Because I remember there was one time actually this year on GU to where I tried the counter trend based off a 4 hour chart, and that shit would just it kept exploding and kept breaking it. So I had no choice but to realize that sometimes the market just go up and sometimes the market just go down, and that's happening when those higher time frames is lined up, if that makes sense. Because once those higher time frames are lined up, it don't have to stop. So I would say my idea, the way that I see it is I've experienced the last 60 days with you guys, but what I'm looking at is different because a lot of people thinking like, oh, they haven't flipped the accounts yet, but we flipped them a couple of different times. But I'm looking at the fact that some assets are getting held back. So I see how I was talking about at the beginning of the Zoom, how this is the first time in 2 weeks where London session fully gave the entry at a open, like at a London open instead of a London close, because London close don't come until 2 p.m. People think when I say London close, people think I'm talking about London close at 5 6 a.m. That's the beginning of U.S. session. A London close is not until like later in the day. You know what I'm talking about for U.S. session. So I'm paying attention to that kind of stuff. So when I say I wake up at like 10 11 o'clock, I'm still on time for the entries, but I enter at that time because at London close, that's gonna be typically the high of the dollar. That's what it has been for the last couple weeks. I've been noticing, and then last night the entry came from London closer to London open than London close because that pullback that happened in the market made sense. That's what I'm saying. It made sense. So that's why I critique myself on London session technically is the pullback session. And that's why I feel like we're in where we're supposed to be in this market, right? But at the same time, if I understand Asian session, London session, and US session, Asian is like a preview of US session and London session is your counter trend trading session. As someone that can do a multi-day swing, it's almost like my London session now if it gives me another London session like that, like I can pay attention to if London is making assets go down, if London session open has now became, open of US technically has now became the entry into the market on buy assets and sell the dollar, because that's what it was always supposed to be. But for the last 2 weeks until the market was ready, London close has been the entry. That's the kind of shit that I'm looking at. Even though it sounds like I might not be saying nothing, or if I'm just sitting there talking shit, I'm always looking at something that people don't think I'm looking at. But it's something that's important to where it might, even if I articulate it, it might confuse some people because I'm really looking at setups, but even the setups has a little bit of depth to it. But that comes with the niche. It's a niche because there's depth to everything that I'm doing, even to how I read the time frames, like how I got confused on the 4 hour chart on one time frame. Well, this should not be shown right now, so I'll get back to that in a second. But how the 4 hour chart confused me on one time frame, but as a new trader, I used to move down time frames to see, oh, let me see if I can figure it out. But moving down time frames, I was just trying to make money faster, technically. But then moving up time frames, the site gets clearer. There's clarity in moving higher. That shit. Think of it as an eagle. You going higher, the eagle can see everything. A crow can't go that high and see what the eagle see. The site is different. The site gonna be different between pilot and co-pilot. I try to used to tell my exes that all the time. Of you know how it be. People be intimidated because I have money and stuff like that. But I honestly don't even talk about it because I know it do intimidate people because I've had it for a while. But at the same time, one of my most recent exes, his thing was he wanted to be pilot. Of course, he the man. I get it. Blah blah blah. Be pilot, but I'm co-pilot. But if you ain't never had your shit together for real, it's always gonna seem like I'm the pilot because I'm coming from a place of I got resources. So it's almost like, is it my fault I'm the pilot, or is it your fault I'm the pilot? Because I really want to be co-pilot, but I honestly believe that marriage is good when you got two whole people, right? But I only become pilot if your ass then passed out and had a heart attack, and now I gotta fly this fucking plane. I don't want to fly the plane. I'm hoping you don't pass out and have a heart attack. But if you always having a fucking heart attack, then I always gotta fly. That's where I'm at in the market as well. That's where I'm at in life. That's where I am spiritually. I know that I'm blessed to be where I am, but it is a lot of work to get here. And the decisions, people think looking at the market, they think in depth is making decisions on buying and selling and entries and shit like that. But it's deeper than that shit. Because say even in my day to day life, my mom losing her fucking mind, and then I gotta take shit. It's almost like I'm the executive of the fucking family and shit like that. Even though all my relatives and shit alive, I just make the best decisions. So it's like my mom, she's schizophrenic, she not taking her medicine, right? She not taking her medicine. My sister live there. I gotta make a decision. Stop what I'm doing, go help her. Da da da. Move her out, put her with me for a little bit, and then boom, get her an apartment. So she can get an apartment, pay for everything, right? But it's like my sister, she like a normal person. She a consumer. She don't think ahead, but she got the luxury of not having to think ahead because she got a sister that already thought ahead. You know what I'm talking about? But that's her birth order. She the middle child. She wasn't the oldest. She didn't have to make that decision. But then even that hierarchy of being a sister, I'm the daughter, the oldest of three, and a granddaughter, right? But my mama, to me, I'm a person with money. I gotta make the most logical decision in order to help the situation because if somebody has too much money and they mentally cannot handle it, it's gone. They fucked anyway. You know what I'm talking about? So it's like with me, that at first I'll support my mom, but if she's not taking her medicine and she won't lose her mind, you don't get to lose your mind and be taken care of. There's rules to the money. So you know how hard of a decision it is to take away finances, resources to my mom. Even though she got an illness, she could take medicine for it, but it's gonna make it worse if she can stay in La La Land because she's taken care of. Eventually, her resources that she has, is going to run out. It's going to force her to make another decision. So it's bigger than trading. People think I'm talking about making decisions in the fucking market. I'm talking about fucking life decisions of moving resources from your own mom to your sister, and you could afford both, but you gotta move the resources because she not doing what is necessary in order to have them safely. That makes sense. Type of two in the chat if that makes sense. So that's why it all come down to that kind of shit to me of trading changed my life. And if I can articulate where I come from and show you guys where I am and where I've been and shown over and over again how many millionaires I've created, how many fucking thousandaires I've created, six-figure traders I've created, and I came from nothing, then I could tell people that I could walk up into a room. That's why I'm interested. I've done a lot of shit, but I'm also crazy. So I mean, I live a full life, but I'm very meticulous in this market because it's changed my life. And that's why I say people ain't gotta love you ain't gotta have no love for money. I don't love money. I love what money can do for me. It's freedom. And it's like even thinking about it back when I used to working at Brio, I remember this girl came in with the flu. It's crazy, bro. And I was just came off of having a fucking baby. And then they got her ass sick as fuck working with me on a Saturday morning. I straight up, bro. People think I'm vocal now. I've always been vocal. I'm talking about I was broken vocal too. Didn't give a fuck. I could make the right decisions. I've always been ahead of my time. They had her ass there with the flu. I got a newborn baby at home. 2 plus 2 is fucking fish to me. Come on now, stop playing with me, bro. And I'm telling them because I don't even give a fuck. I ain't got no money, but I'm not trying to catch the flu so hard. And her ass shouldn't have been there anyway. This is a restaurant. I wish I would have my server with the flu breathing over my food. Like her ass should have never been in the building. I was trying to go home though because I knew that she already infected everything. But they sent her ass home after she already got there. After they already told her to come in. They didn't send her home until I started acting a fool. Because bitch, one of us going, me or her. I don't even care. I don't even care as me. I ain't got no fucking money. I don't even care as me. But it's like I could think logically like that. So it's like back then, I always thought the same way. I just had no money. But even then, I'm thinking long term. I'm thinking, man, in the future when my kid get older, cause she just born, I'd hate to have to ask these niggas that can't even think logically about a nigga being having the flu. See, they can't even think she got the flu. She shouldn't be here. I wish I would have to ask these people, can I go pick up my kid from school one day? And she just born. She a fucking infant. That's what I'm thinking. So I had always like, I gotta get ahead. I gotta get ahead. The only way I got ahead was buying assets. I didn't get ahead having no fucking bank account. I was off worse. It's almost like I couldn't make money fast enough having a bank account, even though I was saving the money. That's what the BB&T story was about. Whenever Shit, I guess I scammed them. But technically, they scammed themselves. I didn't tell they fucking machine to malfunction. But I sure needed it. I was getting evicted that time too. You know what I'm talking about? But I used to have my money in the bank, try to save money, put money aside, thinking that was going to give me a leg up in life. And it fucking didn't. My life didn't change until I started investing in assets. And that's just the way that it is. So when I trade the way that I think as an investor. I invest in assets in my head on the market too. And these things. So if the dollar itself, USD CAD, if dollar itself is falling and USD CAD is a relative to auntie of the dollar, the uncle of the dollar, and auntie uncle, they all came from the same grandmother. I'm assuming that they all come from the same what? Downline. Boom, downline. Yeah, that's the word of the day. You know how Sesame Street they had the words of the day. All right, guys. I'm crazy. All right. I'm parched. Let me see. Let me see what time it is. Let me see. I still got a lot to talk about, but that is he's here with the I can get a job. Oh, somebody was texting me. My bad. I had to text my mess. I had to. I ain't. I ain't looked at nothing in a minute. Let me see what this market is. Let me see if I'm getting cooked. I ain't getting cooked now, right? Let me see. La 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 la. Hopefully we're not getting. Oh shit, we're not getting cooked. Thank God I could talk some more, y'all. Woo! I was like, damn, it's been 2 hours. Let me make sure we're not getting cooked. But honestly, it'll show up here if we getting cooked. That shit gonna go ding 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 ding. We just gonna say close, 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 close. So if I don't hear nothing, I assume it's good. So that's why, okay, the way that I enter is great because it's good for people with a busy schedule. I had one girl who said she work at she's like she works at one of the jails here. I was telling her the same thing. I need to actually if you're on here, we need to get together about your one-on-one because yeah, 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 that works. We haven't done yours yet. We had some stuff. It's been a busy couple weeks. But we gotta do your one on one. But she works at Jess. She says she'll have access to her phone all the time, basically, right? A lot of people don't have access to their phone all the time because of their career. But trading this way, it don't matter because the same way I ain't looked at my phone or nothing in 2 hours is the way that it is with trading because I really ain't looked at the market like that in 2 weeks either. I just knew the direction we was going because of how the dollar was and where the assets were. So I used my critical thinking skills to put two and two together, find my entry into the market based off of the lower time frames because I already understand what the higher time frames are doing. That makes sense. Type of one in the chat if that makes sense. So yeah, I love this kind of stuff. So if the market can trend down for a long period of time, your profits can do it too. You know what I'm talking about? Like you can make profits forever if you got the right mindset of the market. A lot of people not they don't want no depth of everything else. So now let me fix this. So that's the yearly chart. And that's the trend line right there. This is manipulation. This is what 25. So now let's look at the most relative price right here. Most relative price to me right here. Technically that's the monthly chart, but we can do this. Let's test this out right here. Actually, I like this. So we got let me see. I want one. Yep. Ew, y'all see that? That looks really nice. That looks good. And then we got this one right here. My higher time frame ones, I'm gonna keep them orange just so I know. But you see that? What's the rules of a downtrend? Lower lows, lower highs, right? And then we got oh, you know what I didn't do yet? I didn't mark those quarters on there. My bad, I forgot. I'm not gonna lie. So that's why I'm gonna mark quarters on this one, but I don't usually have to mark the quarters because I can see the supply and the demand. But the quarter parts, I do just want to give y'all one more example just in case some of y'all can't mark the quarters. So it's just a lower, I'm sorry, not the lower lows, lower highs. It's the major holes and major halves because there's quarters like 0.25 levels. And I show that in the course too, but I also show that I only use the major holes and major halves, if that makes sense. Because to me, the quarters itself, the 0.25s, is like looking at the 1 hour and 4 hour chart. But the halves and your holes is like looking at the weekly and the monthly chart to me. So I would rather look at the weekly and monthly chart because it's going to be less confusion. And then I'd rather keep like start with five, what's it called? Horizontal lines because how do you say? I just don't like the chart that messy. If that makes sense because once you mark up your chart, once you get good at marking up your charts, you don't have to mark them up that much. But when I was a new trader, that's why I always have to go back and say when I was a new trader, I used to have to mark them all the time. I used to mark my charts every single Sunday and then everything, every chart, every Sunday, every chart, everything. That's how I got good, and that's why I don't have to mark that much now. So my first 2, 3 years, 4 years, I'm marking every chart every Sunday until I'm making money for real, until it's working for real. But when I get on a mean losing streak, I go back to the basics. But that's why. I was at first I was deciding on if I was gonna remake the y'all FX course because I was already in the middle of the finishing the crypto course. Oh yeah, I just locked down the domain and everything too for the crypto side. So I mean we going into the new future AI and shit like that. So I call it Infinity Unlocked Crypto dot AI. It only makes sense to me because I know that I have to see long distance, and if AI is the future, if they always trying to find a way to make money faster, how to replace employees so they can get an advantage in this world, then I need to always be looking for the advantage too. So then it makes me think about, okay, and that's why I will say fundamentally, it made me think about. I think my groceries are getting delivered. If I was a business owner, technically there like unemployment would be down, right? I mean, I'm sorry, unemployment would be up because of some jobs are getting replaced, but that doesn't necessarily mean, if that makes sense, that the company is suffering or the world is suffering because the company, and that's where it gets confusing and why I still gotta look at technical, because when you think about it, all that I can see the buy side and the sell side of fundamentals and different things and stuff like that, but it don't matter to me because it's about the timing of the market and the time in the market, and all that is just further fundamentals is just further confirmation on why I should hold, because the idea is the conviction behind the whole. The ideas is what makes the difference of me being able to see and anticipate long distance, even though that's a skill that I have built over the years because I've always been an intraday swing trader. I've actually never been good at scalping. I don't know why. I can't really scalp on purpose to save my life. But if I make 20,000 real fast, it's not like I'm not gonna take it either. So that's why I don't even like to use these names on intraday swing scalp. I'm just holding as long as it's gonna take. I don't even like to use names anymore. I don't even tell people when they meet me in person that I trade. I play so normal until they ask me what I do, and I still play normal. I say I work from home because it gets to the point to where you do so much in the world, and it kind of scares people a little bit because I could talk in the entire 24 hours every day about anything, about something, because outside of trading, because my profits, because I don't have to actively be in front of the market to click the button, I literally also have a life too. Bro, I almost went to jail today for no fucking reason. I didn't even do nothing. Somebody called me, asked if they needed me to, go get them real quick. And then I'm like, okay, I'm just trying to be a friend and help. Da 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 da. Technically, I'm not supposed. Well, I could be in the area. That person technically not supposed to be in my car. Bro, I swear to God, I think that's what I'm saying. Life just work out. The moment I pull off, I was in this one parking spot to where, if a cop block you in the spot, you get blocked in. Bro, these niggas tried to come in so fast. I don't know if that was there for me because I wasn't doing nothing. I was invited where I was not supposed to be technically, but I was invited. And but they pulled in so fast, but they didn't pull in like I'm talking about. They hit the corner, and then but I was already at the stop sign getting ready to go because they didn't got in the car. But technically, if I would have got pulled over, that person in the car, that could have screwed me because I already was to be there. But then they for sure was going to jail because they're not supposed to be in the car. So then it just would have chaotic made my day chaos, but my life just worked out because I really do try to make the right decisions under the right circumstances. Even if I got beef with somebody, like I do my best to try to help because I know I'm blessed. Because I know that if God see me doing something like and I can help and they deserve the help just a little bit, and I'm just being selfish and shit, I feel like I get cursed. I'm not gonna hold you. So I try not to. That's why I try to live a good life, stay out the way, might cut somebody out, but I'm not finna leave the house and do nothing to you because that's beyond me at this point because there's so many opportunities right here at the crib that I don't need to be doing nothing else. You know what I'm talking about? But that's where I am. Life just works out, and it's really I feel like I'm so in tune with life and myself that I'm just in line with the market too. So where this setup looks so good. Oh, that's what I was doing. So I got two horizontal lines right there. But yeah, life just works out like that. But it's a matter of the decisions that I make over and over and over again that I don't know. It makes it fun, but my thing is I still have a life, but my big account flips, half the time I'm not even doing it like on purpose. Like I'm not again. I believe in seizing the moment. Like when I have $100 account, I don't like to trade scared because the moment you trade and scared, it's already gone, right? But at the same time, you don't know when something is gonna happen, and you don't know if something is going to work or not going to work. But if it works, I want to take full advantage of it. because that's what I'm here for. I'm not showing up every day for no fucking reason. That's what I'm thinking of it as. Let me put one. What's it? 137. Let me put one up here. 145. 145. Let me see. Okay. Oh, what's this one? Hang on. Settings. Oh, 140, 145, 130, 125, and I need 135. So, y'all remember why I put the 5? It just so it's not so chaotic, and then once you get down, I put this one down here, but I don't have to worry about 25 until we break 30. And we haven't even broke 35. So that's why I didn't put 25. But I put 20 just to put 20. But it could have been 25, but it's 20. So there's no secret behind that one. But before I put those quarter points there, the market was already telling you before the quarter points. But just like I said, how I was comparing the purple trend line that was based off of the line chart and the orange trend line that was based off of your candlesticks. That's the difference of, it don't matter how you got your answer as long as you execute off that answer. That's what I'm saying. So I don't need the quarter points in order to execute. And some people don't need them either, because some people can see it because they've been doing it for a minute. But some people need them, but until they gain that muscle, until they gain that third eye of there's two different ways of seeing this. Well, three, I'm sorry. There is this high, lower high, and this low. That makes a downtrend, right? And that's on a higher time frame. We on the monthly chart, so take note of that too. We on the monthly chart, giving you a low setup, a bearish setup on the higher time frame at an area. Shit, really a yearly setup. 25 was the year. Now we going into the monthly chart, but every single time frame has to line up like one big ass puzzle piece. So if the monthly chart is setting up and it's setting up bearish, then the market should be bearish for a while, right? So I would anticipate that Trump's whole presidency, technically, we would need dollar sales, but that means a great market for assets, right? But some people that don't have assets, it's bad for them because their purchasing power is going down. So it's like if you buying assets, it's really like you really offsetting inflation. So if I see one confirmation is lower lows, lower highs, two confirmation is this aggressive trend line right here already broken. You move it down into the daily chart. You see that impulse to the downside, retest to the top side, and then sell off. And then you just, at that point, you just paying attention to all your fractals and how you're not able to get a high, I'm sorry, yeah, a higher high anytime. Every single one of these lows since January you know, um, has been bearish. So the trend line itself, you kind of got to watch it like this, because there's multiple trend lines to draw. This is your second opportunity conviction to get in on this trend line. This one was the third one right here in November of this one. So aggressive trend line entry, passive trend line entry, quarter point entry here, quarter point entry here. There's 1,000 ways to enter in this setup right here, and this is a yearly setup. So I gotta take a note too that it's a yearly setup. So not only does this trend line kind of like, it matters to me right here, but this trend line right here matters the most. Like, let me look at it. How did I do this? It was this right here. Yes, here we go. Try to get this out the way. My bad. It's this right here. You see that? Type one in the chat if you see that. So there it is. One, two, three. One, two, three. One, two, three. One, two, three. It's gonna have to do one, two, three over and over and over and over again. So impulse to the downside, retest to the south side trade. So right now we're in the middle of a trade, but we got this entry in November. This next one we need to go on the weekly chart, and now you got a more aggressive trend line on the weekly chart. This trend line here, was that a yearly? No, that was a monthly. Let me see. And this started 2025. Let me do this. Hang on. I I wouldn't say I'm the cleanest, right? I'm clean. I'm very organized. Not like a duster. You know what I'm talking about? But that's how I am in the market too. Like, I'm not very, oh, this one has to be exactly right here. I'm not a perfectionist. That's the word. I'm not a perfectionist. I am very meticulous in certain things, and you will see me the most detailed in the market. You know what I'm talking about? Everywhere else, I don't really care about. Yearly 2025 houses and cars are nice though, but I don't really care about things that are like, how do you say, like, just fancy stuff. I spend money though. That's my in-laws all say. Like, I buy expensive things, but you're not going to. It's not something you would show people. Like, um, There's some people that have them big ass like chains and stuff like that. I have like bracelets and stuff, but when I bought them, and I think I got it all out of me, like the purchasing and spending and shit like that, because honestly, it's just a liability. Because one time I had like 10K in like one of my safes. This was when I was doing real estate and stuff like that. I ain't saying my sister did it, but I'm saying I don't invite people over to the crib. I will go out and meet people. I don't invite people to my crib. You know what I'm talking about? I got a daughter. I got shit. And my dogs is loud anyway. They're not as six of them. You come to my house, they gonna be barking the whole time. Y'all still hear me? Type of one in the chat if you can still hear me. I was making sure that the thing didn't go out. Um, what's it called? So 10K in the safe, and then it basically go missing. Like we go to the bank, and then I'm thinking I'm in depositing 10K in an account. I'm just putting the money back. You know, sometimes I just like to touch money. Sometimes I don't touch money for a while, so I want to touch it. Sometimes I put it back because I actually need it in digital assets. You know what I'm talking about? So go to the bank with my sister. We at Bank of America. This lady, I give her the money, tell her it's $10,000. Guess what? It wasn't $10,000. It was $7,000. Why me and this lady look at my sister? Cause I mean, she was there with me. She just, I'm not thinking nothing, nothing, nothing. She probably knew. Probably knew I didn't know the exact amount. I couldn't prove she did it, and I didn't fully know the exact amount, but I also know how much I pulled out, and I don't be really spending cash like that. You know what I'm talking about? It's not like I just what the fuck will I be spending 3 grand cash on that I can't remember I spent 3 grand cash on. You know what I'm talking about? I don't spend like that. So when I'm 3 grand short, and the only person in my house with access to the safe is my sister, and she's the only one that comes there. And that's why I stopped keeping cash. You can't People can't steal what they don't fucking know about. They can't see that they can't touch. You know what I'm talking about? They don't know how to fucking work no ledgers. They're not gonna be touching no ledgers. But all the money, the mindset, the opportunities come from the way that I think now. Um, Weekly chart, you see this? You see how you're still making lower lows, lower highs? Even on the weekly chart, you still make lower lows, lower highs, but now your trend line getting a little bit more aggressive. You see that? Trend line, body of a candle, this touch, this touch, this touch. Daily chart, you got this touch right here. Well, actually, my trend line's a little off. It needs to be right here then. There we go. That's perfect. My trend line was off right there. So you see that? So that's let me see if that's a daily. Yeah, no, that's still a weekly trend line. That was just off right there, but still, it's still even better. You got touch here on this wick. I'm sorry, this not wick, this body, and then we're rejecting from this body. So that's why I'm looking at the market the way that I look at it, if that makes sense. So then that's why I'm saying you could buy and sell because you see how we're on the 4 hour chart and the daily chart. The 4 hour chart and daily chart, your intraday time frame. I honestly don't even have to move to the 4 hour chart that often anymore because I do like the setups on the higher time frames because I can hold that long too. So if you can see the setup on the higher time frame, that's how long the setup typically should hold as well, if that makes sense. And then your entry can come from either an aggressive entry and you get in early here, an aggressive entry you get in early here. Oops, get in early here, right? What the fuck was that? Hang on, I'm sorry. I'm over here tripping still. Here, or you get your entry off this here, this here, this here, this here, or this here. You see that? Because those are all your lower highs and these are your lower lows. These are the opposite of where you want to be. You don't want to be in these, right? And technically, um, well, I would say this is making a descending flag, right? But because of the way that it's syncing in with the other pairs and the other time frames and other correlations, I'm not worried about the way that that flag, that descending wedge is right here on the daily chart. Unless we break it, if we break it, then maybe it can go to here. But I'm not necessarily worried about that. But if it go to here, I still think we have a really good chance to hold even with it trying to go, if it tried to go over here. But I I doubt it because once the market has decided on a bias, it don't have to change, right? So that's the shit, they won't even let me do USD CAD. So yeah, that's USD CAD. Oh, and then I'll show you this. You see how the market is going up and you got your trend line. Technically, I need to make these because when it's on the 4 hour chart and daily chart, I try to color code those so I can watch it. So I'll color code the green ones if I'm it's holding as demand the entire time, and this one right here needs to be red because it's holding as supply until it gets broken as supply. And this is a daily. No, this is a weekly. Hang on, weekly. supply. You know, a weekly supply right here. This is a yearly supply. This is a yearly. This is a weekly. This is a daily or 4 hour right here. But then that's why I can say you can counter trend or trend continuation. This is the difference. You can, oh, I'm sorry, you could, yeah, you could do both. So here, this is a red candle. I mean, sorry, red trend line, red trend line, red trend line, right? So that's why people can buy and sell. You see how we on a daily chart? That's the only way that I would consider that if it was a daily setup. You know what I'm talking about? In order to counter trend. But if it's a FAR setup, the FAR setups don't hold that well because they would smoke me. So if I was to counter trend, it would have to be a daily setup and it could break like this. So you could sell for days and buy for days and then sell for days and buy for days. And that's how I made my first million. But now I'm in the mindset of if I know it's selling like daily chart if you can go back and forth. Now I'm just going on I want to sell, I'm selling here, I'm selling here, I'm selling heavier here, I'm selling heavier here, I'm selling heavier here because all of these entries never tried here or here again. Selling heavier here, selling heavier here. You know, talk about until they give me a reason. So that's why I'm saying the equity of the account, if you use the rules of the market against itself, it has to follow those rules, right? So now my bias on USD CAD is over because now that's where the patience come from. My patience is stronger than everyone else's patience. That's why I make the most. That's the only difference. You know what I'm talking about? GBP USD, this was kind of messy, but I haven't marked this one up in a while, so we're gonna mark up GBP USD, and then I'm gonna mark up some crypto future ones, probably like three of those, and then well yeah, then that'd be pretty good. Honestly, this is a good ass Zoom. So now let's look at GU, right? Type a one in the chat. Well, type a two in the chat if you're still good. I know it's a lot of info, but it gets to a point to where you don't have to you don't have to do it as often when you are like secure with it. Like if you got the consistency, you don't have to mark up your charts as often. But if you don't have it, you got to mark it up as often. If you don't have the consistency, you're gonna have to trade smaller accounts because your discipline coming from the smaller accounts. You gotta believe that means if you're not able to trade a small account, that means you don't believe the story good enough. You're not believing the story good enough. Because with the way that I trade, I'm trading off equity. If the market follows the rules and I follow the rules, then my entries aren't wrong. And even though if it takes some entries, it cannot it can't take them all unless it's wrong. It's only gonna take all the entries if it's wrong, but if it's right, and it don't take one time to rewrite, then you got your first 100K, you got your first seven figures, you got your first eight figures. That's what it come down to, right? So this was 2022. This was when I was in real estate. When I bought, here we go, hang on. I bought off this demand right here. This was 85. Man, at 85. 85 just been so close. We just looked at 85 in the dollar. 85 gave me the entry into 22, right? And I wasn't born over here. I was born over here. Oh, I'm sorry. 95. This is me over here. Later, actually, in October. Ain't it crazy? I was born in October, and every year around my birthday, the market set up. I was born for this. I promise you that one. So 85 gave you the first low. 22 gave you the third low. Not even the third low because it tapped it in 16, it tapped it in 17, tapped it in 19, tapped it in 20. You don't have to hold for a long time. You just gotta hold long enough to make your first 100K, first 50K, first 25K, so on and so forth. My bad. I need a water break. I've been going crazy. Y'all learning a lot? Top of five in the chat if you learning a lot. I'm so glad I did this because I didn't know how I was gonna make all those meetings this week. It was gonna be so hard because I really had so much to say, especially since I had missed the Thursday one. But I for sure had a lot to say, and then had a lot more meetings this week. I'm just like I don't know what shit. My mind was about to blow up, so I'm glad we came here today. This was the low, this was the low, and this is the high. Technically, if this is the first low, and this a high, and then you get a low, and then you get a high. It's like a complex pattern, but this low is your second low, but this low is low, this low, this high here is now technically non-existent because it's low, high, higher low. The higher low come from it touching the same area, wicks below 85. Imagine being a trader, a hedge fund trader, a trader that's position trading and you've been holding interest in 85, and that bitch come back 30 years later. I'm sorry, not 30 years later, fucking like 40, 45 years later, I'd be sick. But that's what they do. You know, it's generational worth of money because honestly, you need assets in the first place for taxes. Like people don't have no $1 billion in the goddamn bank. They have it in assets, so they are worth that. You know what I'm talking about? So that's the only way it works. And then when it comes to taxes and stuff, like assets run the world because you really trying to find a way to pay less taxes. In order to do that is to use assets, make a business, do what you're supposed to do in the world, play your part in the world, give people and give employees jobs and so on like that, create jobs in this world, and then you beat the tax game, you beat the game of life. So it's like assets itself. If I know that I want dollar in assets, then I buy the assets. I take out a loan on the assets, and now I have dollars in assets, and then I pay them back the dollars, some more of their dollars after I make all the money after having all the assets and their dollars. Now I'm paying them a fee of their dollars after it's still invested in assets, but now it's taking some time. But what's a small fee worth having assets and dollars? You know what I'm talking about? So it's like in this point, GBP USD is an asset, and then it's a multi-year asset because we looking at decades worth of price action right now, and now we bringing it back to the what is this, the 21st century? I don't know, I forgot. But you see this descending flag, just like we just talked about this entire time. Descending flags lead to movements that go up in the market. Ascending flags lead to movements that go down in the market. So let me move these back to orange because these are my higher time frame ones right there. And then you still get your high. So you got a complex pattern of low, high, higher, low. And now I'm going to make this a different color because yeah, I'm going to get a different color actually because I want to show you this. So now you're paying attention. This is your main setup here. You take this one off here because this is noise. This here and this fractal here, noise and noise. The only fractals that matter is this one, and this one. The fractals in between, noise, noise, noise. The fractals that matter is this one, this one, this one, and these green ones. This one of low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Lowest low just so happens to be on the yearly chart, and then you break it down onto the time frames. You get a break-in structure on a yearly chart, a multi-year break, multi-year low 22, 23, 24, boom, 25. Shit crazy, ain't it? This shit crazy. We over here time traveling. I love this shit, but it's because I know this is the way out. This is the only way. People, you don't have to quit your job, but you got to find a way to make money faster. And if you don't make money faster, you're not gonna be able to do shit in life. You know what I'm talking about? So that's why it's like the signals is clutch. The way Doc did the signals is clutch because now it's making me faster. Its systems are making me faster because not only am I doing faster trying to find our entries into the market, now it's faster for y'all to get in too because it's hooked up to my accounts for Forex and for crypto futures. You know what I'm talking about? So it's really like it's all the systems are in place. We got the right amount of systems in place to where I really do think I can go to 30 million this year because there's nothing stopping me. There's no way for anybody to get in my way. I'm not playing that. I'm not playing it. I'm not accepting it. I've gone too far for too long. I've done too much, and I do shit on accident. Then I'm gonna do it on purpose. I always tell people I make that 100K on accident last year a couple times from the $100 accounts. I'm gonna do it on purpose this year, and I'm gonna do it from a long distance time because now I'm setting a new standard on how you can trade in this world, and you don't need a lot of money to trade. You just need a lot of patience. So you see this candle here, that happened in 22. Yeah, this was like a low key a Sunday going into a Monday, but I remember it hitting this shit. That shit was crazy because that was like $100 account, and it probably hit like $2,000-$3,000 in a matter of like 3 hours, right? So that was this candle, but it looked like a monthly candle, but most of that came from one day. It was crazy. I forgot what happened, but it was some kind of big ass news event that happened. But that's what I'm saying. That's what fundamentals is. It's nothing more than the gas to push the news. So these big ass candles, fundamentals. But your direction is coming from your bias is weekly and monthly chart, your higher time frames, and then your intraday setups need to come from the 4 hour daily chart. And you need to trade in a direction that the market is the main bias of the market. Technically, if you want to be safe, but you can trade however you want to trade. But if you're busy, you need to trade in the direction of the market so that you don't have to look as often. So now we on the monthly chart, just came from the yearly chart. Yearly chart already showing us that it's bullish, but I don't factor in the yearly chart when I'm making a bias. I just like to look at it to kind of see the bigger standpoint on everything. I really look at, monthly through the 5 minute chart, and I took off the 1 hour chart because I really haven't been using the 1 hour chart like that because it's not necessary for me to use it because it's always been an issue with me in the 1 hour chart if it's too much noise for me. And honestly, for whatever reason, my trading view don't even want me to go down to the 1 hour chart. I go down to lower time frames of trading view and that shit start malfunctioning. So it's almost like God want me to get off it too. So I took that bitch off. That's just me. I try to make it real simple for myself. Um, so a monthly chart showing you higher highs, higher lows. You get a change in behavior on this chart. I'm not going to mark the quarter points, but if you were to mark quarter points, it'd be 120, 125, 130, 135, 140, 145, so on and so forth. You don't have to worry about the next quarter. Like we close to 135, so 135 and 130 is primarily your most important quarter points to have on this chart, right? But then you also want 130, 135, 140, 145 because of the way that this market is trending to the upside. You're more likely to hit 145 on GU than you are 125. That's why I would make the decision to put those quarter points right there, if that makes sense, right? So then you looking at these fractals still on the higher time frame of, technically we already got such a higher time frame demand on the yearly chart to where this monthly demand don't mean nothing to me because it's the same thing. But it's still but just like the weekly chart, it's the same thing. But what I do want y'all to take notes is that your trend lines change, and the trend lines can be drawn every which way. The trend lines can be aggressive trend lines or passive trend lines. So if I'm on the weekly chart, technically this could be a trend line here, trend line here, and these are examples of counter trend lines because technically you don't even want to buy this until these trend lines get broken, but that's on the weekly chart. So then you got to make sure you understand where you are in the market, so that you're able to move through it, so that you're able to operate through it. So it's almost like learn how to operate in chaos. That's my superpower because my entire childhood was chaotic. I learned how to operate in chaos at a young age. So now you throw in the government and the world at me, and I'm like, oh, this shit is easy. But there's people that actually have to learn that stuff, and I have to learn it too. But I just started learning it at a young time, so now it's like this shit is chaotic. This shit is nothing but human emotions. But a lot of people they don't know, they don't know how to operate through this because their mindset won't allow them yet to think of things correctly, if that makes sense. So those orange lines is examples of counter trend lines and stuff like that. Your daily and the 4 hour chart, that's why I would draw the other ones. But this is just going to be how you monitor yourself. If I was a person that was an intraday trader and not trying to swing and don't want to swing, every single time, excuse me, um, oh yeah, here you go. Let me do this. Green because this is a daily. So I marked it green because the green is showing me bullish momentum, right? If it's showing me bullish momentum, then it's gonna be green. And if I was a person that intraday trade or just wanted a out in the market, your out is whenever it breaks to your trend line. Your trend line could be drawn on the 4 hour chart or the daily chart. It looks like it probably could be so far out. So let me wait till we get closer to price. We so far out is having a hard time letting me do it go down to the 4 hour time frame, but all of needs to be seen because y'all need to know that the market is doing the same pattern over and over and over again, and when you execute, you don't have to execute in places that's not set up. Like all you have to do is wait and have patience for your it's almost like for your edge to show. Like my edge is holding for a long period of time, but my edge wasn't showing for the first 6 weeks because we was getting stopped out because the market was chopping, if that makes sense. So then we got this right here. You got this trend line here. So it's almost like you just got to get comfortable with these trend lines and drawing these trend lines, right? And then when it comes to these counter trend lines, you want to make them a different color like this of this one's green. It's holding the market up. Oh yeah, that was good. That was good. Never mind. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it green. I thought I was gonna have to mark a red one. So this one's green, holding it up, but as soon as you break the green one, selling off. Boom, 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 boom. And then green, green, green. As soon as you break the green, selling off. As soon as you break the green, I'm gonna drop my trend line. Sorry. As soon as I break the green, selling off. 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 But look, it's changing the behavior. Broke your orange. Your orange is a higher time frame one, right? So now you ain't worried about breaking no green. Now because you buying it, break the red, buy. Break the red, buy. Break the red, buy. Because we already made our bias. So now you get down to your lower intraday time frames. if you ain't got no buyers by the time you get to the 4 hour chart, you don't have no trade. So now because we're on the daily and the 4 hour chart, these are your intraday setups. Break the red. Well, I like this one better. There's two of them. Well, there's two of them here. This one and then this aggressive one right here. So you don't want to play with it to where it's biased, but there's two. But you gotta play with it a little bit because there's two trend lines there, right? But then that's why things be important for counter for trades because you can be an intraday and a continuation, but it's depending your entry in the market is what's gonna tell you what kind of trade you are. Because I'm buy, my ass I buy here, 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 here. Probably tried to buy here. Probably took some of my entries, came down in here. Can't take them all because I've been buying since over here. Buy here, here, here. Buy here. Probably bought here too. Got stopped out definitely right here. Buy here, buy here, buy here, buy here, buy here. But because I'm swinging from here, all this really hold itself together because I only want to buy the red. That's my entry. That makes sense? Type of one in the chart, that makes sense. That is why I say you can get rich with a small account because you need to follow the habits the best. If you follow the habits the best, your account gonna get to 100K, 7 figures, 8 figures. If you're not following the rules the best and executing the best, you're not getting that far. You know what I'm talking about? That's what it comes down to. So then you get down to the lower time frames. It's not letting me do the 4 hour. Get down to the lower time frames like that. It's like it's still good for you because now you're looking at now you're just looking at where the retest need to be, and your retest is here, 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 and in the future here. And then, oh yeah, I forgot it's not let me do that. So then, just like I was doing the counter trend, because the behavior of this market changed, we go in counter trend here, counter trend here. That was at the 130 level. We definitely bought that level, but now you see why we're buying that level. Oh no, we didn't buy the level from this level here. I didn't catch it until over here. I acknowledged it over here. I caught it over here. So, but that's the low, higher high. The same way it did it on the yearly chart is now doing it on the daily chart, and that's why I say every time frame gives you the same setup. You just gotta wait, and you gotta wait for it to break your. It's almost like you break that trend line, and then it's like, okay, it broke the trend line. Go ahead, pull the lever, Croc, and it pulled the lever, and God, and we just pray that you're on the right side of the trade, and you got me as your mentor, so that you know that you should be buying this market because it's in a consistent uptrend. You know, I'm talking about this zone is kind of off a little bit, but there you go, it's right there. Oh, it's not letting me go down to the forward chart, but it's right there. Yeah, oh yeah, there's the 15-minute chart, but then on the 15-minute chart, your lower time frames, 15 minute, 5 minute, that's your entry. If I already see, I will say too, we coming up on Monday. Technically, Monday is a counter trend entry into the market in a bullish trend, so you gotta watch it. But just because Monday should be counter trend, it don't mean Monday not gonna consolidate and bullshit until the actual trend. That's why I kind of got away from counter trend because I didn't blow so many accounts on a counter trend when I just didn't have to where I just finally got my ass whooped enough to where I'm like, you know what? I do like Krabby Patties. Like that's where I'm at right now. Like I'm tired of blowing my shit for stupid reasons like that. So now let's look at a couple of these. Let's look at ouch now. Let's look at Pepe. This nigga right here. This overlapper right here. Man, we over here. We cooking Pepe. We cooking everything, really. Give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. I need to hydrate my ass over here dying. I'll be right back, y'all. Less than five. Actually, I really just need 3 minutes because I want to talk about all this crypto, but I need my throat to be moist. So I'll see y'all in 1 second, okay? Ta ta. Be right back. I'm sorry. Don't leave. I'm coming right back. Y'all can take a break too if y'all want, but y'all can just stay on Zoom. Just put my computer down for 1 second. Boom. See, that was less than 3 minutes. I'm back. I already had a cold this week, so I was like thinking, I was like, why is my nose stuffy? So, well, she had the flu. So her grandparents didn't even take her this weekend. She ended up she with my sister because I mean her grandparents are older, so they didn't want the flu. Of course, nobody want them to have the flu either. So me and my sister young, so we had her. But I don't get sick like that. I got a super immune system, so my nose start getting stuffy. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So watching that. But when it comes to crypto, crypto is the same thing. The same way I just broke down Forex for you guys. Oh, they barking. Oh, my groceries getting delivered. Matter of fact, I will take that 3 minutes. I'm sorry. Give me 2 more minutes. They over here. They too loud. They barking. They dropping off the groceries. Let me get that real quick. I'll be right back. But this is the yearly chart. On your chart. Matter of fact, while I'm gone, on your chart, if you can mark it up. And you can share it in the group. The group chat, y'all should be sharing your charts in there anyway. I don't know if I said that already. I think I did. You don't have to. But it is in your best interest to because I do peek in there, which I'm not saying nothing, so I ain't really got nothing to look at. So I'll be peeking. I'll be talking myself. I mean, I can talk all day though. So let me get the groceries. Mark up y'all charts for me real quick. So if y'all want for Pepe, because I'm finna go over Pepe. So if y'all want to practice real quick before I get back, then y'all can practice on y'all chart, and then I'm gonna mark up Pepe on mine. But you don't have to either. But if you wanted something to do while I get back, that we could do that. So give me 2 more minutes. It take me 3 to 5 minutes to mark up a chart. I use to time myself because I'm always trying to get faster. But yeah, 2 minutes. Right back. Right back. All right, everybody, I have returned. How did the charting go? Hope it went well. You can share your chart to the group if you would like. If you didn't have a chance to do it, it's okay. Don't worry. You got all weekend because, I'm locked in all 2026, so y'all should be locked in too. So, Pepe, look at the yearly chart, right? First off, I just want to take a moment before I erase this chart to talk about how beautiful this setup has been for us. We have been buying it since where? Honestly, since this low right here, hang on, let me see the daily chart. Yeah, this is the lowest Pepe's been, honestly. I wasn't even trading Pepe in 2024. So we were sitting at 2024 entries over in 2026. It's like we still time traveling, right? Um, Descending flags lead to bullish momentum. So then impulse to the upside, retest to the downside, and then impulse to the upside, retest to the downside. But this is what I want y'all to pay attention to. You see this? It's low, higher low. I'm sorry. It's a low, a high, higher low. Higher low. But one of these higher lows don't matter. I'm going to say is this one. Take this one off. I'm really finna erase the whole chart. But like this is what we're in right now because I have the vision. Matter of fact, my phone at. Let me see. Cause Pepe cooking. I'm so glad I'm not blowing my shit. I couldn't believe. Ooh. Hang on, I'm finna send this trade summary to the group. But yeah, 195. I'm so glad because that shit was cooking my black ass. I couldn't believe my eyes. I could not believe it. Pin. Yeah, we cooking. This is the best way to trade because it don't require us being patient. I'm only starting with these small accounts. Type a one in the chat if you can still hear me. My bad. I had switched to my bot real quick because I needed to see something. Let me turn it off. There we go. And type a one in the chat if you still see my screen for trading view. I just want to make sure I'm on the right screen for everybody. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so we have been buying it since over here, but my mindset behind that crypto and my bias and how I've been playing it out, my plan this entire time was because crypto dead has been ready since the November 21st or 22nd, that Saturday when I made that Zoom. So that's another thing too. Sometimes I don't hop on Zoom because sometimes the market's not ready. And then when the market is ready, that's when I'll be having stuff to say. So because I had already gave the game plan like a couple different times, I was really at a point to where I didn't have nothing else to say because I had to wait for it to play out, and now it's played out. So now I could talk because now it's showing y'all, this was the previews of the movie, and but we seen the previews of the movie over and over and over again, right? So then, this one it has the impulse to the downside. Damn, that's perfect. Impulse to the downside. You know how I was talking about that impulse to the downside is the turnaround. I wouldn't even think about that shit. I mean, I was, but I just thought about it again right now of why we pumping like we are. The behavior of this pair has changed, right? Now, before I get too in depth, let me just start with erasing this chart because I could really go in depth with this. The yearly chart on Pepe and the issue with drawing your quarter points when it comes to crypto futures is I don't draw quarter points on crypto futures because the some of these pairs is under a penny. Like Pepe is one of those pairs, if I remember right, that is under a penny, right? So to me, I'm not that how do you say perfectionist trying to be perfect enough to where I care about adding a quarter point when I know that I'm looking for those higher highs and higher lows in a buy trend, right? So that's one step that I knew to take off because adding quarter points to a crypto pair that is under a penny. Now some of the crypto you can't add quarter points to, but stuff like Pepe and Jasmine, I don't add quarter points to. You can add quarter points to BNB, BCH, Bitcoin, Ethereum. But I don't trade as many crypto future pairs as I do Forex because honestly, crypto futures pay a lot more. Like matter of fact, last night we was up like 10,000 pips, right? When it come to Forex, I caught just under 2 million pips in 2025 on crypto futures. Now, when I look at crypto futures on here, why is it not showing how many pips I have? Hang on. I'm sorry. Let me I'm missing something on my chart. View account metrics. Right now we are at how many pips are we at? It's not even showing me. I'm confused. Hang on. So I mean I'll just leave it after that because we got a few more pairs to go through because we've been on Zoom for a long time. I like it though because I have to this was the work I had to do anyway and I was gonna do it today. But I would hate to have to do I was gonna do what I'm talking to y'all about today anyway. So I was like, I'd rather have y'all on here because then I would have to erase all my charts on Monday and do it too. So this worked out great, perfectly. So I'm glad that y'all were able to come. And I recorded it too, so I'm gonna put this in both groups. Even though the crypto future side is a different side, if y'all in the bot for the Forex and the crypto future side, if you bought the lifetime, then it adds you to the other side of it too, the lifetime password. Then you gonna need this information anyway if it's still the same mindset because technically some of y'all are my Forex mentorship and some of y'all are my crypto mentorship. And then there's some people that couldn't get on tonight because it was kind of last minute. I don't really do that to people, but I don't mind some of these because this is the time that the market is moving. So I don't like to use one stop losses because the market go back and forth. I need to be following the rules that the market's trading anyway. I need to understand impulse, retest, trade. But this is an impulse to the upside on the yearly 2024, impulse to the downside yearly 2025. And this is a retest. So if I know that the flag that I just showed y'all, I'm just drawing that line there to show you the buy side flag. The buy side flag looks like this. I don't even know why this is here. I don't know what that is. Oh, there it is. Oh, I do know what that is. Impulse to the upside, retest to the downside, trade. So now, instead of that angle, it really giving you that angle, but it's doing it off a matter of 2, 3 candlesticks of impulse to the upside, retest to the downside, and then trade. It's doing it like that. That's the difference. Y'all see that? Type of 2 in the chat if y'all see that. So now I take that off. I'm looking at it, and then I know to just put a horizontal line right there because I don't like to use quarter points on here. It's too confusing. So I'm gonna skip that. I'm just gonna draw that horizontal ray just to take note that this is a retest. Now when it comes to retest, a retest can be 50 to 90% of a move. In this case, 2025 retested 90% of 2024. So if y'all remember right, 2024, everyone thought at the end of the year 2025 was going to be it because everybody was anticipating Trump going to the office and it was going to be good with crypto. Now, the mindset behind that is what brings me back to fundamental analysis of I can take all that and I take fundamentals with a grain of salt, but I don't stop thinking about it, if that makes sense. I'm always fucking thinking about it. I'm just not adding it to anything because it don't matter to me, but it matters to me because it's going to be the reason when all the money is there. It only matters to me after the fact of, oh, damn, we just cooked these niggas. I wonder why. That I don't wonder why until after. If I wonder why before, it's gonna fuck everything up. So yearly chart already showing you it's gonna be a buy. That's just my anticipation. Now, that's what I was saying. You see this shit? So I was getting cooked right here for December. I got cooked for November. I'm so tired of getting cooked. I was so tired of getting cooked. I stopped leaving the house until I stopped getting cooked. I'm like, bro, when I flip these accounts to 10K, then I get to have an outing. I get to go out and eat and thrive and live free, right? Until I stop looking fucking stupid, I'm not going nowhere. So, but I'm done looking fucking stupid, obviously, because Dick, we didn't caught the biggest candle in 60 days. And we got cooked here. We got cooked here. I did good in October. Got cooked October anyway, but I did do good in October. I cooked myself. Cooked here, cooked here. But my vision is I want this. I want this. I'm sorry, not that bitch. I want this bitch right here. This one here. This one here. I want all of them. I want to be above this. So now I'm looking at look at this. Low, high, higher low. Higher high, higher low. Higher high. There's a higher low right there, but I'm gonna skip that. Lower low. I'm sorry, equal low, lower high, lower low on the stance of the monthly. Type of 2 in the chat, you'll see that, right? So now you got thinking long distance. Crypto is an asset. I'm sorry, I gotta do my orange. That is the one thing I will say I'm a perfectionist about. I guess it's not even perfectionism, it's just very tedious of when I'm on the go, I gotta know what trend line I'm looking at. So that's why I do color code because my money is color coded. That's why I leave it at. I color coded my money. That's where it's at. I moved that trend line because I had it right here, but I wasn't getting enough touches. I needed it. I don't need it on the wicks. I need it on the bodies. Oops. Hang on. So I moved it right there. That's why I moved that trend line. I just didn't say that. My bad. That's the monthly chart. This is the weekly chart. Weekly chart, monthly chart, same thing. But you can also tell right here, November 17th, you know how I said it was ready on the 21st, 22nd, that Saturday, because I had sent that little emergency video. If I don't know when, I just be waiting and anticipating. And so I've waited and anticipated, and we've been swinging it like this. But the same way your 4-hour chart give you a buy setup, your daily chart give you a buy setup, your 15-minute chart give you a buy setup, your weekly and monthly chart got to do it too. Now, the best chart to show you is actually Ethereum. So I'm going to do Ethereum, Bitcoin after Pepe, because what I need to show you is actually on Ethereum, but you can see a little bit of it on Pepe. If this was a low, the original low came in October. The impulse came in October. The market manipulated all the way through November, December. We didn't get the holiday pump that I was anticipating because we always get, like a Santa rally type shit. But if everybody's anticipating the same thing, the market hold it off. So now everybody off the guard because they celebrating the holidays and now the market pumping. They missed they 6 month. They didn't miss 2 months worth of entries on 1 week because they wasn't paying attention. They was celebrating. When really, if you pay attention, you can celebrate whenever because our entries is really like over here. We got 2 weeks worth of entries and the market is making money while we're talking, while we're learning, while we're growing. Now, I started with small accounts, but taking to the fact that I trade big accounts as well, but I'm trading small accounts to prove a point. But I'm only doing this big ass account flip with everybody really one time. One time for the crypto futures, one time for the Forex side. The crypto futures side will probably get flipped faster than the Forex side because crypto move a lot faster, right? But when it comes to crypto futures, it costs less, it can be manipulated more, and it's so unregulated, it moves wildly to where that's the only place for like to where it's going. You can make a bang for your buck. You can make fucking seven figures and starting with a small account in 1 month on crypto futures under the right circumstances. And right now we under the right circumstances. Of this is a weekly chart, but we've been in it for 2 weeks. And on the daily chart give you the best setup on Pepe, and then the other well, Ethereum and Bitcoin give you a better setup, but Pepe is a new coin, so it's like a new asset, so it don't have as much information. But if you take the facts that we just talked about on the Forex side, implement them over to the crypto future side, and then watch how I'm trading when it comes to those strategy bots, then it's almost like you got like it's almost like you tracing coloring within the lines. You over here you got a coloring book, and then I already gave you the boundaries of where you're supposed to stay in. So now you just got to stay in those boundaries. If I tell you that a descending flag leads to bullish momentum, then a descending flag, no matter what time frame it presents itself on, leads to bullish momentum. And if your downside, if you invest $50 to $100 in an account, right? And then what's it called? You only put 50 to 100. That's your risk. But if you don't blow that, then your upside potential is unlimited because imagine it if it fell from December 24, 2024, all the way from up here, it can also go back to here. If this trend line has been holding since beginning of 25 and we just broke it, right? And it's coming from a higher time frame, monthly chart, then why would I expect it not to go up here? You know what I'm talking about? So now I just gotta wait and watch the way the market is retesting this stuff because you know how I said the red candles and the green candles make up the market, whether it's a bullish trend or a bearish trend. That's where we at. So everybody, I've been anticipating the buy, and I think I went so heavy on the buys last night, and that's where I had to tweak myself too, because I would have been heated if my whole account was gone this morning and my entries was gone. My 2025 entries were gone because I was strategic on the way that I wanted to do it because the market already gave the year entry on the 19th, and it gave people a higher low on the 31st, but they're not paying attention to the patterns and the habits that the market is doing. They don't even understand that the behavior has changed. So now you got a descending flag to the downside on the daily chart, a low on the daily chart, a high on the daily chart, a higher low on the daily chart, a higher high on the daily chart, a higher low on the daily chart. This ain't surprising. That's not surprising. I knew that shit was coming. I didn't know when. I thought it was gonna come for Christmas. It got me looking like a stupid fucking idiot the whole time. But now I see that this right here, this right here, this fucking dumbass counter right here is the one that did that dumb shit to me. I'm sorry, never mind. This is the counter that did that dumb shit to me last night. Like at one, oh look, at 1 o'clock in the morning. The stupid ass candle that took all my fucking 60 entries, left me with 4. Luckily, I think long distance and I'm still in it. But that would have been insane. That would have been insane. 1 4 hour candle took out almost. It wasn't even 2 weeks worth of work because these entries down here is still down here, and I have one entry down here, 2 entries over here, one entry here, and then I had like 50 in the air, right? Or 50 plus in the air, and then 1 4 hour candle came down for 4 hours, which is London session. It makes sense. It made sense why I did it, but I was just pissed it did it. But I can't be pissed it did it. I gotta be pissed I didn't anticipate it doing it because I surely looked at the market and was like, man, this bitch show is kind of playing around right here in this little area. But I'm not no person that's like, oh, well, I'm finna save my $100 and I'm just gonna reset myself because if I save my 100 and reset myself, then I lose my 25 entries, right? Now the importance is not the money, it is the entries because the entries is the money. The entries is the money. The entries is the reason we ain't got to do shit. The entries is the reason we've been on Zoom for 2-3 hours and we still making money. The entries is the reason we've been holding trades for 2 weeks and I can flip a $10 account. I'm flipping a $10 account to control myself because I know how crazy I could. My fingers is fast. I be over here training this nigga. Look at how fast. I don't even know if you can see my camera, but look how fast this finger is going. I be training this finger. This is my clicking finger. Click, 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 click. One thing I would hate to lose. I would hate to lose my vision. I would hate to lose this fucking finger. This one right here. The only finger I need. I don't even care about the other fingers. I need this one. My fastest finger. This one, this is my left hand. I'm not that fast with it. My righty, this is Michael Bolton or whatever his name was. This is Bolt right here. so so if I know that this market is buying and I understand the rules of the market for Forex, and I understand the rules of the market for options, and I understand the rules of the market for futures and crypto futures and assets and buying crypto and buying stocks and the way the businesses work in the world and the relationship between oil and crypto, I'm sorry, oil and the dollar, and then how that works with different assets. And if I know that the market sometimes just go up, I ain't never selling this bitch. I'm not selling this bitch if it's telling me that the weekly chart is bearish. I'm sorry, it's bullish. The daily chart for sure is bullish. We already got the best 2 out of 3. We don't even have to look at a 4 hour chart. So if the weekly chart and the daily chart for sure lined up in sync, 2, 3 times out of the 3 time frames, weekly, daily, 4 hour chart, I need the best 2 out of 3. The highest 2 out of 3 is already telling me bullish. There ain't no conversation need to be had. Nothing, nothing, nothing. There's a season where it's just execute, and that's why I didn't have time for some of the Zooms this week because I was just like, it's time to execute, and then I need to pay attention because even though I had that time last night, if I don't know what would have happened if I added more entries, or what if I would have stayed up last night and then actually caught that bottom? You know what I'm talking about? But that was the first time that the market did what it did for London session, for an open London open instead of a London close, because the London close has been at 2 p.m. But I understood that the behavior of this market had changed, and that's why we got this pattern. But you got to also understand that sometimes the market go up. So just because they feel like the price of this pair is too high because they didn't get in on time, they trying to anticipate a turnaround point. They get smoked by this candle thinking, okay, we back into a sell trend because it's been selling since July. Where is it? May. Yeah. So over here is where I did that 65K trade right here. It was this week. It was the 7th through, yeah, so that was just one big ass week. The 7th through here. This candle is actually just as big, if not bigger, except I'm doing it slower because we can hold it longer and I could take it into the entire year. Because by the time I start doing 20 lots, 10 lots, 5 lots, because of the way that we holding, you see how a $10 account went to 300, a five lot on a fucking $6,000 account can go to 45,000, and that's half of the a flip right there. And because we got so much leverage on the account, we've already done the work on the setup. There's no more work to do on the setup. The work is the patience. Type of 2 in the chat, if that makes sense. The work is the patience because everything else is a no-brainer. We already understand we need to execute from a point of higher lows if we buy. We already understand we need to execute from a point of lower highs if we selling. So now it's a point of being able to self-regulate. And my version of self-regulating is I have to make sure I have to watch my spam when I have a group of people with me. And that's why I'm saying trading by myself and trading with a team is a different skill, because I trade pretty scary. Like, I'm not scary. I trade scary because I will have 2,000 plus entries on something and not give a fuck. Fuck the account. I'm taking this bitch to Mars because it's time to take it to Mars. When the market is ready and it has chosen a trend, it don't have to deviate from that trend. A series of higher highs and higher lows on a daily time frame, 4 hour time frame, and it's showing me it's a higher time frame setup, then all I see is I don't even see people no more. I don't see social media. I don't see YouTube. I don't see Instagram. I don't see phone. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I see setup. And this setup told me it came from here and it's going there again. That's all I see. This setup here on the dollar is telling me it came here 85. It came here 01. And this bitch got to take them niggas out to lower low, lower low. This is what I want. I want this. I don't care what people gotta say because I'm right. I done too much. I'm right. I study too much. I'm right. I don't matter what nobody say. Don't matter what they think they could do. Don't matter how many times I lost, I done the most shit, the best shit, and I'm done it too many times. I'm right. You cannot move the mountain. You can't push no mountain. You can push the goat off the mountain, but you ain't moving the fucking mountain. That's where it's at. And right now I'm the mountain. I'm taking this bitch over here. Right? So that's why I don't use quarter points when it comes to Pepe, because it would add a lot of confusion, because this is priced under a penny. Now you take it down to Ethereum. Ethereum, we also been buying really low. I didn't catch it in April. That was actually when I had took off. That's what I'll be saying too. God be trying to fucking distract you. Not God. The devil be trying to distract you when something about to cook. So all this week I've been getting cooked in life. But I don't let none of that distract me, because I don't give a fuck what's going on, who got something going on, who need me for something. Don't care. I'm not coming. You know why? Because I'm trading. And trading is the most important part to me, because I just think about the times when I was broke and I ain't had shit and nobody gave a fuck about me. You know what I'm talking about? Nobody was fucking helping me. Me and Justin was fucking struggling. Now that nigga still struggling, and that's good for him. I love that for him, because he didn't do the work that it was supposed to be done, because I started trading with him and he quit. So imagine quitting. I become a multi-millionaire, and then you think I'm finna go back and say, yo, dumbass bitch, no, you should have. Why'd you quit? Why'd you quit? Because since you quit, it's still been throwing the same fucking patterns. Since before we started trading, it's still been throwing the same fucking patterns. Impulse to the upside, retest to the downside. This retest to the downside versus this retest to the downside is, this retest to the downside is your first higher low. This high is your higher high. And this over here in December and November, we retested on top of the higher high, but you're dealing with all this manipulation. Matter of fact, look at this fucking December candle. Look at this shit, right? I'm just not looking at that. That is dumb. That is a dumb candle, but it's a retest on top of um April, May. But we had already just looked at that when the dollar was given that retest over here, but it's doing it the opposite way. So now you see what I'm talking about? The dollar did it. Excuse me. Let me see. Oh shit, I'm lost. What's up the dollar looking at? Oh, I think it was nah, maybe it was oil. Yeah, it's oil. It's oil. Hang on. Let me fix this. Type of three in the chat if you still with me. I'm doing Ethereum and I'm doing Bitcoin, and then we'll be done after that. No, I thought that was a pretty good zoom. It's honestly everything we actually needed to do and see, because all the other pairs is really just repetition after we talk about the next couple pairs. I mean, we honestly could have been stopped, but it's all repetition because it's all giving you the same setup, if that makes sense. You just got to be open to looking at the way that I see things, because I'm telling you, like, people probably don't understand how much I look at this. I look at this stuff every day. I don't even have my text messages at my main screen, because I don't really care about text messages. I put my text messages on another screen, unless the people I'm usually talking to. But I look at charts and shit all day. Unless Aubrey calling me, like, my phone bill do not disturb. It's hard for people to contact me if I don't want to be contacted. But there's some people that are able to contact me too every single day. Like the people I work with, people I'm building with, stuff like that. My daughter, my sister, my in-laws, if they have Aubrey, they can contact me any day. Anybody got Aubrey can contact me anytime, right? But if they don't have Aubrey that day, they can't contact me. I'm not playing with that. I've been doing that shit for sure since 2022. But that limits the distractions in your life, because we didn't even used to have no fucking phones. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I wasn't even old enough back then to remember that, but people that used to have phones. So it's a matter of the accessibility. People couldn't access people like that back then. So technically, they were more productive back then, but technically, they didn't have the technology in order to work smarter and not harder. They was working hard. Now we work smart. You know what I'm talking about? They didn't have the choices that I have now. But that's what I'm saying. The luck come from my birthright. You know what I'm talking about? So when it comes to, oh, that, yeah, oil, this was April, May. We buying. Oil still getting manipulated, but you see where the manipulation for crypto happened already. Indices not getting manipulated, but crypto technically is an indice now, but it's a new indice, just like Pepe is a new crypto. So just like Pepe, because it was getting a little bit more manipulated because it's new crypto, it don't have enough info. Now well, this got manipulated in December because it should have been took off. We never got our rally. But just like people anticipated 2025 being great, and 2025 cooked people, shit, it cooked my black ass too. And I was having great trades. It was still cooked some of it. I'm doing way better this year, way bigger this year. because I can already anticipate the future. I see what my future look like. My future looking bright this year. My future look like we should look like I'm gonna be up $30 million. That's what I'm seeing. Because low, high, higher, low, higher, high. But now that's the monthly chart, so I got to be able to see long distance, operate short, and operate in the short term. See long term, operate in the short term. You notice how I'm not adding no entries, even though that shit pumping. Hey, if they cook my black ass for London session again, I'm gonna wake up entering the market if it's low. If it's not low, I'm gonna wait. If it and I'm also anticipating and keeping in mind how Monday is. If Monday is and should be Monday is going to be typically counter trend for a bullish market, right? My anticipation is let it ride through Sunday, don't add no more entries. Let it ride through Monday, don't add no more entries because I anticipate Monday if London session just came down like that, gave me my counter trend trade. So I'm noticing the habits and the behavior of the market. I noticed immediately when it starts to change. I noticed the setup. Here it is on the 21st when I sent out. I sent it out on the 22nd, but on the 21st it hit that low, impulse into a level of demand. On the second, that Saturday, I said we buying. We've been buying since over here. This leg, this leg, this leg. But I didn't know it was gonna give me the same entry. I entered based off of what I knew at that point in time. If I knew it was gonna give it to me here, I would have took all my profits here, here, here. Type of 5 in the chat if that makes sense. But because I didn't know, it's here, but it's still the same play because because now I really see that we broke this area since it's been holding it down since October, since fucking August. It's been holding it down since August, gave us a quadruple top, finally broke the trend line of the quadruple top that's been holding it down all these months, 5, 6 months. Now I'm expecting impulse to the upside, retest to the downside trade. So now to me, it do this. This right here, 1 second. It need to do the same way. High impulse, retest, trade, retest, trade, retest, trade, retest. I'm sorry, that's too low. Retest, and then boom, trade. But you see how I stacked the staircase? It's like that, and then you gotta do this of your retest should always come from where it broke out. The lows ain't guaranteed in the uptrend. So that's why it brings me back to this of we entered off of a low over here on the 22nd. If I knew it would give me the same entry in December, I would have took profit here, 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 3 different times. Bands, instead of blowing that and then having it come down to here. I didn't know it was going to come down to here, so I couldn't have been like, oh, I'm just going to counter trend here. But I'm sorry, I would have, intraday trade here. But if I have a habit of intraday trading, I wouldn't have a habit of swinging. You know what I'm talking about? So now I see the behavior has changed of I've experienced this, I experienced this. Bearish downfall, bearish down. Twist my words up, but bearish thing right here leads to an impulse to the upside, but it's low, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low. And now it's continuing, but now it's a matter of what time frame. This here, this pullback when it gave it last night, I was asleep. It definitely made sense. It's retesting this. I didn't think it was gonna do that dumbass shit. Stupid ass market. But look, let me not say stupid ass market because we still in it. And I'm sure not adding no entries tonight because it's not gonna blow my shit tonight because I'm not letting 2025 entries going. Because I have such good entries over here, and over here now, it's hard for me to want to take the money for just the money when I could take the entire setup. The entire setup for everything, for every asset, including Ethereum, like if I was to chicken scratch it, it's like this. But now it's like we done already done so many in-depth charts. You just want to be able to recognize the basics, which is low, high, higher low, higher low, high, high. This high is lower than this high, but this low is higher than this one. The lows ain't guaranteed, but the highs typically get retested. So when you really get a low in the uptrend, it's a real blessing in disguise. So then get higher, and what's this? The monthly chart. So just like the daily chart to just take off, the monthly chart to just take off. We at a point to where we on a monthly chart setup. If it just took off over here, why wouldn't it do it here? Well, it just did it here. It did it here. We here again. This trend line I've been holding since 2020. We in a 5-year trend. why would I think after 6 years it's not gonna hold this trend? So of course I bought, we bought, and we making money, right? So we just gotta understand where you are in the market, and you got to be able to look at things and do things from a standpoint of a long period of time. You know what I'm talking about? Because just like we was on a monthly chart, now we got a bearish, well, a bullish flag set up right here, to where now it's like you tuning in on the scale and the patterns and the habits of the market. That's gonna be how you make money. Now, oh snap! You see that? This here is the same thing it did on the weekly chart and the monthly chart. Um, so now it's doing it on the daily chart. Exact same shit. Exact same shit. It's so beautiful. I love this kind of stuff. Watch this. So now I'm finna go to Ethereum over on this side. It's really like an art the way I look at this stuff. It's like, I've been doing it for a minute. So you see, oh wait. Oh, this is what I'm gonna show you weekly. So this right here, the way it went, oh wait, let me make sure. Was that one? I think it was Pepe, if I'm not mistaken. But no, same thing, same thing. If I knew the leg, no, that's right. It was just because, yeah, I confused myself. My bad. This is still the weekly chart. This was a weekly setup, but this is showing up on the daily. So this here it is on the weekly, the same leg of impulse to the upside, retest to the downside, and trade. Except you just gotta watch your closes of this close here. You really gotta watch it because you could do this. Now you can make quarter points on crypto, but your quarter points will be 3,000, 3,500, 4,000, 4,500, 5,000, and then you can put 2,500 if you really wanted to. But 2,500 would have only mattered if we broke lower than 28. 28 is the lowest we went. I thought we was gonna go to 25, and for a second, I really thought it could go to 22, and it didn't. It stopped at 28, and I was at first didn't want to buy it at 28, but it was a weekly setup on 28. So now you go into the daily chart, you see leg, come down, behavior start changing. Behavior change to still making higher highs, higher lows on the daily chart, market taking off. 4 hour chart, give you the pullback and the entry right here. You draw a zone all the way across like this, and it honestly came up short. It could have dipped a little lower, but if it dipped a little lower, I would really been screwed. You know what I'm talking about? So you gotta be okay with not knowing how far it's gonna dip because you don't know how far it's gonna dip. But if you know you're going with the trend, then you go with the trend, and the market gonna carry you. So that's why it come. That's why it's easier. It's not even easier. It's just you can get money faster on the crypto future side because it's gonna move a lot more. A lot of people like to trade US 30 and stuff like that, Nasdaq indices, SPX. Welcome to the new indices. But now we got Pepe, BCH, BNB, BTC for Bitcoin, and Ethereum. You just added new assets to your ecosystem, and there's a lot more pairs, but you don't need that many pairs to trade on Forex. I feel like the pairs balance each other out because Forex is very volatile. So when I stack it and you see me stacking all the pairs like I've been stacking, you see all the pairs in there, that's because I'm doing it on Forex side to balance each other out. But on MT5, I still use that close all button, but I'm only closing all. I'm not using that close all button for no reason, too, by the way. I'm talking about I gotta be up thousands, multi thousands of dollars to close these positions because I know we can take it there. That's what I'm saying. So just like I just said that on Forex, on crypto futures, I have I have a specific thing I like to do on each thing. So that's my thing for Forex. On crypto futures, I only like one pair for real in there. So some of the pairs last night I actually manual closed, some of the Ethereum and some Bitcoin because I knew if the market pulled back and I had something heavy like Bitcoin and Ethereum that would pull back volatilely, that it would have actually blew the account. So had I not manually closed out Bitcoin and Ethereum on my own, it's y'all should have as well. It probably would have fucked the entire account really because it would have been too heavy to survive the pullback the way that we was able to survive the pullback and still come out on top with Pepe because Pepe is really like an XRP. What XRP used to be because it can be manipulated. You can make the same amount of money, if not more, on these small pairs just like you can on the big pairs. It's just going to be require more patience, but you can also get more entries and you're going to get into the market faster. Talk about 3 in the chat if that makes sense. So now you go back to Ethereum, everything makes sense. Now it's a matter of you staying consistent and being able to self-regulate and show that hey, Like I understand I need to be buying low. So when the market is high, and that's where I flawed because I did buy high. I did see where it was BSing into this area of supply for not even gonna lie to you, probably 3 hours before it actually dropped. But when it actually dropped, I was asleep. I was asleep. I probably but that's the best thing. The market, it it will start trading your own account. It's really like automatic trading the way that I'm doing it because if we have entries down here, this is not Pepe. We don't have no entries on Ethereum because I took them. But if you stack in the lows and watching the highs for a potential retest, that means your money gets to make money the entire time. You don't have to touch it no more. The only time you really should be touching it is if you add in entries on lows because you should anticipate the low going higher because now it's time for the market to do that. That makes sense. So now you see how we on the 4 hour chart and it's like, yeah, the market came down over here and we're going into a London session pretty soon in a few hours. So then I get to watch and see if London's gonna bring the market down again because London technically is the counter trend session. But I am not pulling the trigger no more technically until the market try to come down again because I need to watch. I need to watch certain angles how the market moves. Like I said, when Doc had caught it, I'm a break and retest trader. But sometimes my anticipation, when the market was manipulating the last 2 months, my anticipation made it to where I was making it. I was becoming a breakout trader, but I was not successful at any of the breakouts because the breakouts were failing. I am a break and retest trader. I needed to watch the way the retest was coming. So this is the only difference. This is what it looked like. It looked like this. Me anticipating to buy here, and this bitch would come down like that. Anticipate to buy some more after the stack because that's exactly, and that's why some of my stacks will fail. That's the only reason they will fail because I was stacked too high. That is my only flaw. But if I watch the way of the retest and I buy these, the angle is the angle that is retesting that is the secret. This retest here, bearish. This retest here, bullish. This retest here, bullish. That's the difference. That makes sense? So you gotta watch that angle so that because a breakout, it could break out. And I do buy highs with the anticipation of a breakout. But it's the session that you got to pay attention to of the breakout and the habits of the session and the patterns and the habits of the day and the behavior of that asset is what makes trading hard for a lot of people. So I talk about it like it's very easy because it's easy to me, but it's easy to me because I do it every day for 8 years. You know what I'm talking about? I find it fun, the chaos, but yeah, it's not good, but it's good. You know what I'm talking about? um, so you see Bitcoin. I didn't necessarily. I guess I didn't fully mark this one up. Yeah, so yeah. So yeah, when we had that crypto future zoom on the 18th, that was actually another good entry. We had a zoom that day, so we did talk about that. But when you look at it from the higher standpoints on if you were to draw quarter points, your quarter points on this one, first off, I will say everybody wanted 75, 76, 70, right? And that's exactly why I came up short because everybody wanted it. And I anticipated that because everybody wanted it. Because first off, I couldn't even believe we got that low in the first place. But it made sense after looking at it. It's a weekly and a monthly setup. You know what I'm talking about? So looking at it in that standpoint, just like we talked about for all these other pairs, for a few hours, we on Bitcoin now. It's our last pair, and your monthly chart is still giving you what's the rules of uptrend, rules of downtrend, rules of uptrend. It's higher highs, higher lows. It's giving you a series of higher highs and higher lows, and then the downtrend, the counter trend trades, they are valid. They last for a long time. Some of them last for months, right? This one lasts for 3 months. But once that trend is broken, now you get back into the trend continuation. Counter trend, counter trend, counter trend, trend continuation. It's been on trend continuation since 2020, since 2019. Since 2019, we've been making nothing but higher lows and higher highs. My patience between 2017, 18, and 19, 2020, 2021. Honestly, my patience didn't really get that good until like 22, 23. But 23 is when I was working on it the most. And then I was able to tune in on it whenever I took those 8 months off because now I'm at a level because I've been teaching since I made my first million, right? I didn't teach before, but I taught like soon after. So I've always been at a point to where I had never taken time away from everybody, right? So it's like that time away from everybody, I got to experiment, and it didn't matter whether I was right or wrong because it gave me time to see what worked. Because and that's why some people, even if I tell them exactly what I'm doing, they're never gonna try it because they can't afford to be wrong for any amount of time. The experiment only lasted really most of June, not even June, because honestly, all that stuff happened, with that one dude stand here, fight everything, cops, everything. That happened in June. I didn't really trade in June because I had a lot of shit. I had to clean up everything. Took a while. Took like a week or two off in June. Didn't even look at the markets. Talking on the phone with friends, and then I didn't really come back trading and stuff until July. So I really took all of June off. And but end of June, it was like the 29th, 30th. I'm literally was talking to him with like one of my, old friends. I mean, not friends no more. But I was like, I'm finna make like 200K, 100K for July. I'm finna turn 100 to 100K. And he thinking I'm BSing. And I'm just talking shit. I'm just putting shit in the world like, yeah, this is what I'm finna do. And then 7 days later, I blew 7 accounts before I hit that 65K, 75K trade. But then after, it's like it was like I was able to take more risk. So it wasn't weekly, it was doing it daily. I put 100 in his account, I put 100 in my account. Because, I ain't had shit to do. I was retired. I'm just over here trying out new shit, building new shit. And so on the 7th, I didn't out that weekend before, I technically I could have grown the account more, but I didn't take the money. I grew an account from 100 to 3,000. And that was Saturday going into Sunday. On Monday, I woke up, whole shit was blown. I started an account again on Tuesday with $100, and that Tuesday account through Thursday from the 7th through the 10th is how I got to 65, 75K, right? But then think about it like this. That's 3 days of someone could have stayed up, and that's a yearly salary for somebody, right? You're not going to be able to intraday your way all the way to 65K without getting heavier and more riskier every time. But if you use the equity against itself, the market against itself, the rules of the market against itself, fight the enemy whether or not. People are so worried about trying to time the market, and some people are so worried about having time in the market. I'm fucking them up on both sides because I've always been good at time in the market, and I've gotten even better at having time in the market. And having time in the market is nothing more like we was talking about how we started with the RDLs is working that muscle, your internal muscle, your muscle that's starting with the anxiety, your muscle that making you scared of everything. That's the muscle you working. So people be thinking that I'm finna do shit because they want it this way, or I'm not gonna buy the signals because I want to intraday. Bitch, I don't give a fuck. I done already made so much money in my life that it don't matter. It don't matter. And then 95% of the world can't afford fucking $5,000 to work with me in the first place. And honestly, I make people more than that. So my thing is coming from a standpoint of not even scarcity. Just like I said, I made my first million in a point like from scarcity. I'm making it the other people's first million, first 100K from a point of abundance because I know it works because I have the receipts, not just for myself, but from people all over the world. And I haven't even met everybody from all over the world, but because I have a course of giving everybody from all over the world the same information, and people have also been able to turn a couple hundred into a couple thousand. So I'm doing something right. So now I'm trying to do it with a group of people of me leading the way, but it's like by the time the accounts get to a certain point, they're not going to be able to follow because it's going to take a certain mindset that they might not have because it's one thing seeing an account go from 100 to 200 to 500 to 1,000 and back to zero. It's another thing seeing something go from 75K to 25K in a matter of a few minutes. Pray to God that shit don't blow. That shit bounce up. It's a lot of how do you say? It's like damn, I forgot the word for it, but it's like a fight or flight type shit. It's like a lot of emotions going on because you really making the constant decisions the entire time because if that account blow, there ain't shit to be done about it. Who you gonna tell? Oh, who you gonna complain to? People over here trying to complain, the banks and shit. People complain with waiters and shit. Oh, I don't. I want to talk to the manager, bitch. The market take your fucking account. Who the fuck you gonna talk to? God. That's who you gonna talk to. That's all you gotta talk to. So it's like it come to a point to where trading even make me more skilled, dealing with people, understanding their mindsets, understanding their behavior. Because everything that I trade in the market is the fucking human behavior. So it's almost like people be thinking, like my exes, they be thinking, you can always tell the future. Yes, motherfucker, I can tell the future. I tell the future the best. I always know what you finna fucking do because I can make money in the market. I can tell the future because I'm good at reading fucking behaviors. If you got the same behavior doing some dumbass shit, I expect you to do some dumbass shit. I anticipate it. And then you do it, and I'm like, oh my God, you fucking did it. That's the market. The market is human behavior. But that's full circle of how I started, the beginning, before I started, Forex, making my first 7 figures, and now I'm on my way. I'm trying to make 100 million. I'm not fucking stopping until I do because there's people making fucking 8 figures a month, 7 figures a month, 10 figures a month. It's not me, but I can do that too because I'm the best at this. I read the market the best. I implement the best. I experiment the best. I experiment more. I do more. I try more. I fell all the my way to the top, and that's exactly what I did. I fell my way all to the top. I experimented the first 2 years and found out how to get profitable, and I get people there faster. I'm okay with looking stupid for 6 weeks because I know for 52 more weeks I'm gonna be looking smart as shit if this market hold because I'm making sure that my habits are in line to take these accounts to 100K to 7 figures. You know what I'm talking about? Because the only difference is between me doing it by myself and me doing it with a group of people. It's a time frame that I'm looking at and the time frame that I spam. I have to be careful with the spam because even though I'm starting with a smaller account, even with me starting with a small account, they don't even know I'm starting with a smaller account, and they still got stupid shit to say. But that shit is beyond me. It bring my mindset on. I'm glad I gave them the 30-day free trial because it gives them a chance to figure out if this shit is for them for 30 fucking days before they even try to speak to me. Instead of what it's been for the last 7 years of me speaking to them saying some dumbass shit. I'm pissing myself off because the people that it's not broke people is hard. It's their mindset is hard and it's exhausting, and I can't take it no more because making money not hard, but they also are the same people that don't want to try something new and want something like a consistent paycheck because you're gonna get a consistent paycheck, but you're gonna get paid the same shit every time. Now, when you work for yourself, when you trade, you're not sure what you're gonna make for the month, but it's okay with not knowing if what you're gonna make for the month if you know what the market is doing and you know how to read the market and you know how to regulate yourself in this market. The only way we get into 100K, the only way we get into these accounts of 7 figures, if I can regulate myself correctly, which I can, because I know what I'm doing. I don't let nobody rush nothing because if they was able to do it without me, they'd be doing it. You know what I'm talking about? Like I'm not that old, so it's I have a purpose in this world, and that's why I started trading. I didn't trade because I like fucking people. I'm not trading to change people's fucking life. I'm trading so I don't get cursed. Not trading so I don't get cursed. I'm teaching so I don't get cursed. You know what I'm talking about? Because I could very well sit in my house and trade all by my fucking self and not have to be pissed off sometime. But it's like, how do I take away the people? Because somebody always gonna say some stupid ass shit. That's how I regulate myself. I gotta self regulate in the world because I do outstanding shit, cool ass shit, shit that's unimaginable, unbelievable, and seem like it's a scam. But I can't help that. Like Shaq big as hell. I'm trying to figure out how the fuck he got that big. You know what I'm talking about? People do a lot of cool shit in this world that I can't do, but that never stopped me. When people do cool ass shit, matter of fact, I know like swing traders. I always used to be annoyed with how they wouldn't tell people entries and shit like that. Like if you able to see long distance, why you can't fucking talk? That's where I come from. But at the same time, they can't talk. That's growth. They can't talk because they don't fucking know for real. They know enough to regulate themselves, but leading a group of people is a different skill that I have been able to develop because I did take them 8 months off. Not a lot of mentors gonna take fucking 8 months off. Lead because teaching itself is $1 million business. I'm telling you that. It is $1 million a year business teaching, especially when you're good at it. And my prices is high. I can for sure make $1 million teaching and did right before I fucking took off for them 8 months. But I was okay with leaving that shit because I can make even more fucking trading. You know what I'm talking about? But it's always been that. I made my first million before I started trading. So then it's like, I, so it takes it to the point of understanding manifestation and understanding who you are. I always had it in me. I never, like, I made money with people, but I always was gonna make money. I made my first million before the people. I made my first money after the people. I made money without the people. You know what I'm talking about? I made money with the people. I'm the playmaker. So it's like I gotta understand that people are gonna be mad because it's hard. I used to be mad because the shit is hard, but if you quit, that's when you lose. If you quit, your losses is recognized. If you quit, you're a loser forever. If you quit, you're still going to work and still gotta find a way to make money faster. That's where I'm at. It don't make no sense. So I feel like it's faster to understand lower lows and lower highs, higher lows and higher highs. Look at these higher time frames. Wait in the market or wait in traffic to go to work. Either way, you finna fucking wait. That's why I feel. Because my kid is 8 now, and I only started trading to try to have a better life for her. And it's almost like I feel like she was just born yesterday. But then every day I look at her, I'm like, damn, I'm a big kid now. I seen that shit all the time. It be making her mad. But I'm like, damn, you really is a big kid now. You was just a baby yesterday. I just had you. I was just cussing people out at Brio Tuscan Grill because They done sent the bitch with the flu to work and gonna look at me stupid I ain't got no money to sit here and deny going like not go home. I ain't got no money for this, but I also ain't got no money to be fucking sick. So that's where I'm at. The decisions is different, but it's not different because even when these accounts get big enough for me to throw 5 lots, 10 lots, 40 lots, 20 lots, 50 lots, 100 lots, if they can't read the fucking market and don't understand why I'm spamming the market at the time I'm spamming it, they're not gonna spam it. They're not gonna be able to keep up. They're gonna be scared because the count will go it'll dive $20,000 and they gonna dive off the roof of their apartment. I promise you that one because they ain't ever even had 20,000 at one point, and that's if they make it there. So everybody can learn technical analysis, but everything that I've been talking about for the last couple hours is my idea behind everything. That is my mindset behind everything. That's the way I see stuff. If you do not believe what I'm saying to you, you're not going to make the money that I'm making in this market because what the money that I make in this market is coming from the story the market is telling, and I understand the story very well. That's the difference. So now this is the daily chart for Bitcoin. We've been holding really since November 21, 21st, 22nd. That was the first low, second low, third low. We had our crypto futures class that 19th, right before Christmas. We have a high here, high, low, higher, low. I'm sorry, low, high, higher, low. Broke trend line. Trend line been holding it down for sure since August, October. Between the August, September, October. Been holding it down since then. We get a break in structure. And I didn't even let it go over here. We get a break instruction. These niggas think I'm finna let this market go. I'm not letting this shit go. They can let it go. I'm not letting it go. I'm not letting it go until we are at minimum up $15,000. $10,000, $15,000. But then I can't even promise that I'm gonna let it go then either because it just depends on what the market is doing at that moment in time. Because sometimes when I do these account flips, it'll get to numbers like that, but that's when I can take the most risk because my free margin be so available and my margin percentage be so good that I can afford to throw 10 lots, and them 10 lots gonna get me to 25K faster than we even would get to 25K, even though we wasn't at 25K yet. We're gonna have 25K in profits floating before the account balance closes with 25K, because once the momentum starts of the movement, it just depends. It depends on the session. It depends on a lot. So I can't promise I'm gonna close it at 10, 15K, but I know for sure 10, 15K I'll consider it closed. But if I see the opportunity to fuck the accounts up in a good way, I'm gonna take it because I seize the moment. I'm not a scary trader, but I already did the hard work. I already traded from scarcity. I already came all the way from under the bottom to the bottom to the middle to the top to over the top. I'm only 30. I be forgetting about that. I feel like I'm 50, but it's a lot of knowledge in my head. But it's coming from the experience on people. You what people do it study for 10,000 hours. Shit, I try to make the most out of every week. I want 10,000 hours out of every week, and every week ain't even got 10,000 hours. I don't even think the month got 10,000 hours. I don't even, I want 10,000 hours every fucking day because I'm trying to be alive forever because I figured it out. You can make money. You don't have to be awake the whole time. You don't have to pull the trigger the whole time. The market will trade itself. The account will trade itself. And if you got bad entries, the market gonna balance itself out. That's why I need y'all to remember. So if you really want some automated trading, just listen to everything I said. I recorded this too. So I'll put it whenever it download. It's so big, the file's so big, it probably gonna download it in the middle of the night. So I'll probably post it tomorrow. But you can always go back and watch it. It's a big ass video. But that way, so I'm glad I did this because I missed Thursday. I had Monday coming up anyway, so instead of having to do it Monday, we did one big ass Zoom today for multiple hours because everything needed to be said. And then look, everything needed to be said so much to where I could still talk another 5 days because we still got so many pairs to talk about. But this is enough to catch y'all up on everything to where everything else is just repetition. It's just repetition. And then the crypto future side, that'll be out more than likely next week because I just got y'all's domain and everything. But it's still gonna be connected to the Forex site. Y'all, that little top at the top, instead of having y'all course there, I'm just gonna have it redirect y'all to y'all site. Y'all course and stuff gonna be over there because it's bigger than trading. People think it stop at just trading Forex and stuff like that, but it's like trading Forex is a 9 to 5. You literally have to invest in assets or you're gonna trade for the rest of your life. Just like if they don't invest in assets and buy assets and learn how to invest in a skill set to make more money, they ass gonna be working the rest of their life. But I can't help them if they not listening to me, even when I speak for free. The first part of y'all Zoom, was me making sure because I'm trying to consolidate everything because I know I had time today, but I didn't know what my time was gonna look like on Monday because shit really just kept coming up in the last few days. So I'm like, oh, I for sure have time today. Aubrey not here today. It's early enough to where I'm not sleepy either. Yeah, let's knock out a few pairs and then we making money in the process. But I wanted y'all to understand my vision. So that's what I need. And best, but I can critique myself. I can't expect y'all to understand, and I can't expect the public to understand if I don't speak about the vision. You know what I'm talking about? So I can't even be mad. People be mad because they not having the same thought process that I have. But just like I might not have the same thought process that other people have. Like I'm not car savvy. I'm not that tech savvy. I'm chart savvy. I'm finance savvy. I can't fix no washing machine and shit. My shit was flooding yesterday. They had to fix that. That's probably also sleepy yesterday because my bathroom was flooding, my hallway was flooding. Ran out of towels. Fucking washing machine wasn't working. Had to get people to come and fix it. It was the new year. The new year, I forgot. Everything closed on New Year's Day. I had to wait till Friday, so everything is screwed up. But then I find joy in the chaos. Cause me and Aubrey still having a blast. We still having a blast. Don't care. Her daddy crazy and call CPS on her for no fucking reason. And honestly, I don't talk to Aubrey about her daddy. But she heard me cussing so much because I done called his parents and told them what the fuck he did. So where she already know. So she was like, well, I got you. But Aubrey's smart. She ate, but she ahead of her time too. Just like I was ahead of my time. But I was ahead of my time because shit, I was damn near abused. You know what I'm talking about? Mom, damn, CPS should have actually took me from my mama. CPS over here fucking around. I'm like, Aubrey live better than most fucking adults. She's smarter than most people. She's smarter than most people in the world. She damn near smarter than me, and I'm pretty fucking smart. I'm just a little crazy, right? She gonna say, "Well, I needed to know. I was eavesdropping because I needed to know. So now I know what my daddy did, so I can call CPS. Well, not call them, but tell them if they talk to me that I like it here and my daddy is crazy." I was like, "Yes, but that's not your job because guess what? I'm her mama. So my thing is, I'm like, yeah, all right, but just like the generational the wealth needs to come from the top. The protection needs to come from the top. It's not my job to protect my mama and my grandma because I can help them in certain ways. You know what I'm talking about? And I did play my part, but I can't play my part to where it's in the care of their own destruction. If you know what I'm talking about, they self destruct with too many finances because it was never meant for them to have it because they never had to work hard and do the discipline to develop those critical thinking skills to fix different situations. I already getting an advantage that I didn't have as a kid and had to learn and through YouTube and other education as an adult, she getting it because she live here. You know what I'm talking about? She see me working all the time. When I say I do this all the time, I do this all the time. But I also still make time for her too. We used to go to the park, everything. It seems like I'm up for hours. It seems like I'm up all the time, but I just sleep at odd hours. I don't know when I'm going to sleep. I just go to sleep. You know what I'm talking about? And then I wake up like, oh my God, it's a brand new day. And then I want another 24 hours. So it's just about being able to self-regulate. If you can self-regulate, you can regulate in the market. Understand once the market has decided trend, it's gonna go that direction. It don't matter the asset class. Once those higher time frames are formed, that's the direction the market is gonna go. And then when you get pullbacks in the market, oh yeah, this is important. When you get pullbacks in the market, it's because one of these time frames need a retest. The pullback is not because the market is dying. The pullback is because a 4 hour chart might need a retest daily, weekly, monthly, 15-minute, 12-month. Somebody need a retest. In this case, the 12-month needed a retest. 25 was the retest. 24 was the impulse. 26 is the trade. And we finna fuck them up. I'm not taking nothing less than first off bans for these accounts. I don't even care how many times I lose. I'm not taking nothing less than bans because it's going to work because I'm following the rules. We are following the rules because I am following the rules because I refuse to look fucking stupid when I know I've done the work and I got the results. So, so to me, if I lost everything, I always say I started with serving tables. Technically, I started with serving tables. But if I lost everything, I don't have to go back to serving tables because I have a network I can reach out and you finagle. You know what I'm talking about? If I needed to, and I have relationships with people if I needed anything. So I'm cool with everybody. I just cuss a lot and I argue a lot, but I'm cool with everybody. They ain't nobody have a bad time with me for real. And even if they had a bad time with me, they still cool with me because they know I didn't fucking do nothing. I just probably lost my fucking mind for a second because they did some stupid shit. But then I came back, apologized, and told them that I do a dumbass shit again. We can still be friends, right? So if I lost it all, technically at first I would have got a job, served tables, anticipate making 500 a week, depending on the restaurant I'm at. minimum. But that 500 a week is because before I was making 50 to 100 a day, right? So that's important. If you a person that is working, you only got so much money. At that point, a surfer, we getting paid high, 50 to 100 a week. 50 to 100 a day is pretty good. And if I work a lot of days, I'm making a lot of money. But some days it's slower than others. So average 50 to 100 a day, and I'm taking half of that and I'm investing it. If I don't know how to trade small accounts, there's no fucking way that I'm ever gonna have $10,000, because you're not gonna work your way to $10,000, because everybody in the world doing that. So so if I lost it all, I would get so that's why the importance of the account flip on. If I lost everything and I didn't blown 10 accounts, all that means is I would have been at work for 2 fucking weeks for sure. Until I get to 10K, that's how long I would have been working. Because I only have $50 to $100 as an employee, as an employee, I would have had $50 to $100 per time to risk, depending on what my bill situation looked like. If I got my budgeting and shit in order, then that's what I could risk. Now every account I blow, that's how many times I gotta go back to work. If I turn 100 to 10K the first day, I ain't gotta go back to that bitch again. But I remember the last job I had, it was fucking what was it? It was Mexican restaurant. Damn, I forgot. Oh, Uncle Julio's. It was Uncle. Oh, I got the shirt on right now. It's fucking Uncle Julio's. Yes. They gonna tell me first off, I didn't even have as much as I had right now, but I still had my first million. I held on to it for a long, 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 long time. I'm good with Buddy, but I had that and I worked just in case because I didn't know how long it was gonna last. They had the nerve one day when I was gonna walk out because they had sent me with some dumbass party. Well, it was really supposed to be a 20 top, but really like 15 of them was children, and all of them didn't eat. They was there for dessert, and they held my tables for like 3 hours, 4 hours. When that party got there and I'm finna take the order, I promise you, I take half the order. I've always been no BS. I always been I'm a no BS mentor, but it's because of the way that I grew up. Like I'm black and white. This is smart or this is not smart. There's not no in between with me. This work or this not working. You on time or you fucking late. You came or you didn't fucking come. That's what it. We friends. We not fucking friends. I ain't got no. Oh we. Oh I'm not. Bitch. I don't want to be around you if I don't like you. That's where I'm at because I don't have to do that. This party came in and I started taking that order. I knew it was bullshit. I put my fucking pen and a little book down, and that manager saw my shit, bro. He knew I was walking the fuck out. I was headed to that door. He gonna say across the restaurant, "You walk out, you can't come back." I turn the fuck around. I say, if I'm walking out, I don't want to come back to this motherfucker. I don't want to come back. And once I make a decision, it's that. And I noticed that with my daughter, once I already make a decision, it's that. But it took me a long time to get there, to set boundaries, to know my place in the world. But she got that. She ate right now. But that's because I made sure my shit, I came from trauma. She don't know nothing about no trauma, but that's because I put in all the work. Bro, I told my friends, I was so broke when Ari was a baby, I didn't even tell her birthday and shit. I couldn't afford to tell her birthday and shit. I promise you, if I didn't have my family and then my in-laws and shit, she probably wouldn't have known about her birthday until she was like 3, 4. That's just me, and that's crazy. That's crazy. But that's just the way that I think. I'm not finna sit here and be spending money on parties and shit. I ain't even got no money way back when at the time, like that. Not yet. So you think I'm finna tell a little kid that can't even talk yet, don't know what day it is, how it's her birthday? Like, come on now, I ain't got no money for this shit. I ain't even got time for this shit. I'm over here getting evicted and shit, trying to make sure we alive. And you worry about a fucking birthday. You worried about Christmas. You worry about presents. There's there's more important stuff in the world, and the finances is the most important part. So I always come back. You ain't gotta love money, but you gotta love the opportunity that money presents. And if you can read finances right and get your mind in the order that I just explained in this Zoom and have been explaining for shit, if not 8 years, at least 6 of them since 2019. Listen to what I said since 2019. You're gonna be a-okay, cause I ain't traded. I ain't changed nothing. The only thing different between me now and me in 2019 is my mindset and my patience and how sure I am of I'm right. We cook in this market this year. But that's all I got. I think that was a good Zoom. I'm glad you were able to stay on. If you could, if you couldn't, it's okay. I understand. It was kind of a surprise Zoom. I was surprised as well. But I love a good surprise. I'm finna be surprised too when these accounts hit 10K, 100K of fucking $1 million if we all still doing it. You know what I'm talking about? Because at the end of the day, we don't know what's going to happen, but we got to be okay with whatever does happen. And that's what it come down to at the end of the day. Take everything I say. I know it's a lot of information, but it is needed. You need it. You need it. Y'all got me, and I'm in the group, so y'all can share charts in the group. That's what the group chat is for. Y'all can share charts in the group. But I'm always share my weekly analysis. But if y'all don't, I'm not gonna force y'all. I used to force people to try to share in the group. I don't do that shit no more. I was overworking myself. You either want this or you don't want this. I wanted this. I I was so broke I ain't had no choice but to want it. I needed this. So that's all I got for y'all. Thank y'all for coming. And I'm gonna probably do this more on the weekends because honestly, I do be free on the weekends because we finally got the holidays out the way. So now Aubrey got a set scheduled again. So now they gotta lose my mind for real because she already homeschooled. So sometimes I can, sometimes mama need her alone time away from the little cute 18-year-olds, even though she's so precious. But y'all have a good Saturday night. I'm gonna drop this Zoom recording in the morning because it's gonna take a minute to download. But thank you. Bye.